What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys, and of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and of course, hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below, and I posted in the chat earlier as well. But thank you to everybody here chilling, hanging with us on a Sunday. 'Twas the Sunday before the draft, right?
Basically, and this also wraps up the week here. So we'll be crowning some new champions, maybe some repeat champions, possibly. Yeah. We'll see what happens after tonight's stream. But we have some extra little special bonus news for everyone to kind of take part of if they want to be part of this. So we'll discuss that also here in this intro, as well as discuss who the people are currently running the streams, the boards this week, and appreciate the man with the plan, McLovin, making the world go around here on the sponsor of the week side of things, and the Cash App King. Much love to the man McLovin, who mostly does his damage on the After Dark sessions. So appreciate you, sponsor of the week, Cash App King, and I'll just get right to it. He is the current leader this week, up by a little bit over guys like SCO971, over ladies like Marissa Sparkle and many others on this board. So appreciate everybody who is on this, running for that top spot. Tonight, we will crown a champion one way or the other. Will it be a repeat like our 90s Cowboys? We shall see. Jason Renfro, though, he's also running the other side of the boards. 17 points. He's hanging on. 17 points, as you can see right there, as the stream boss. So, hey, an old Jason Garrett there takes it down. And then if you look at the gifting membership champ, that is also Jason Renfro. Appreciate him once again. Mm-hmm. But as far as leaders go on that side, it's only one man on the board right now, and he's got 2 gifted memberships, and it is the man staying skeptical. Skeptical fan, much love to him. He is currently in the lead over everyone by 2, gifting 2 memberships this week, which means if anybody wants to catch him, they got to drop 3. That's right. And you got to be in the membership to be able to do that in the first place. So different ways to join in here into the fun. I will give some shout-outs to some people in the house that have dropped some love here in the past, like, and I'll say in the past, I mean like the After Dark sessions, right? And of course, last night we were not on last night, so let me shout out people like SCO971, Jason Renfro, Marissa Sparkle, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, and Gloria. We also had Skeptical Fan with a pre-stream $2 holler. Woo. What do you have to say, baby? Pre-streaming it?
He gave a big old thumbs up. And a classic Go Cowboys.
Yeah, and Jason Renfro in stream here with a $1 holler. I'm assuming it's a Go Cowboys. I'm assuming.
Yes, it is a Go Cowboys.
Hell yeah. Uh-oh, we got ourselves multiple gifted memberships here by
Jason Renfro.
It looks like 2, right?
Wait a minute, I'm not ready to give up that crown just yet.
He wants to go back to back like our 90s Cowboys, and he is in the lead. Is that 2?
That is 5.
Oh, 5
gifted memberships.
He got 5 on it.
Woo.
Kicking it off right. 5 gifted memberships, which means he is in the lead already by 3, by a field goal over Skeptical Fan. When it comes to these gifted memberships, appreciate you, Jason Renfro. And if he does take it down and hold it down, he gets the crown back to back.
That's right.
Like our 90s Cowboys.
Congrats to Colette Cat. Woo. Somehow, once again, my Cowboys family.
What?
808 Cowboys 77, Raul, and Drums and Cowboys. Much love to you. Appreciate you. Congrats.
Yes, and much, much, much love to the man, Jason Renfro, who I got to move up this board here.
That's right. So, with that said, of course.
I was just saying there's a lot of different ways to drop in here. And you can see he pumped himself up a point with that gifted membership there. And actually, no, it was the $1 holler, actually, it was from him. So appreciate all the drops from After Dark and here on My Cowboys. Again, news has been very light on the Cowboys side this offseason, much lighter than any of our previous 7 seasons that we've been doing here on YouTube, on My Cowboys Family. So we're skipping days here, but hey, no more skipping. Next week, it's on like Donkey Kong, guys. It is football crazy, and we're revving up for that. We'll explain in a minute a little bonus to this thing. And I'm going to explain to you how Jason Renfro just got himself some, a chance to win a fantastic sewn and stitched jersey. I'm going to explain in a minute. Let me keep it going, though, because these are the ways you get in this raffle is by doing things like this. Mm-hmm. Now, again, there's super chats. You saw Jason Renfro and Skeptical Fan do that. You can jump into the memberships on your own. You can also gift memberships if you're in the membership, like you just saw there. And you can also hit the thanks button. All this is through YouTube. But then there's other ways you can challenge the man McLovin right now, the king, right now the leader on the overall board, but also on the Cash App board. How do people catch the Cash App king?
Of course, you have the Cash App, money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, that Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat. So,
yeah, that's right, and that means that, and I just want to make sure that's so important because the Cash App and PayPal side of things is where the After Dark always is hitting, so that's why you see those winners taking over on this board. I opened it up to both channels. I might have to slow it down during the regular season. We'll just do it on this side, but either way, that has its own leaderboard. This one has a combo leaderboard, but there's going to be a little extra bonus for those here on My Cowboys Family. Again, I want to make sure shouting out all the different ways of dropping in here and dropping the love and support is also to give the shout outs. Whether, again, navy blue, silver, star, and over everything. There's 4 different level memberships.
Has its perks, especially
this week.
Tonight, you'll be probably seeing that live and in action here in a moment.
So first let's shout out those that are in that star and over everything level membership. And again, the important thing here is we do this every month. It's called a Star and Over Everything level membership raffle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the weekly winners, and right now McLovin's one of those weekly winners, also get put into this if you win it 2-3 weeks in a row, you get 2 or 3 bonus raffle entries. And this is for next week though. This is like the beginning of May. We'll be doing this raffle for the month of April. So you want to make sure you're in the Star and Over Everything level to be in this. If you're in Over Everything, you get 2 entries. But that's not the only thing going down, guys. And again, let me first shout out those in the Star and Over Everything level membership. And baby, I'll let you do the honors to shout out those in there.
Yes, thank you very much to Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical. Yeah. Jason Renfro, much love. Lincoln Kane, Dwayne Broussard, the top dog, the lunatic.
You know him.
And Over Everything, Seabass.
Yes, who we will hear from tonight. A little later after we do our intro and a little bit of NFL Cowboy news here. But this is next week's, like next week. I'm talking about like a week and a half from now. But we have an upcoming draft, and in this draft now there is something new we're about to do. Something old, actually, but it's a new raffle, and it started tonight. And I'm going to give a shout-out to the man, the lunatic. We're doing a day 1 and day 2 jersey raffle.
That's right. So, guys, make sure to be there or be square because as our Dallas Cowboys get going in the draft, apparently the most important part of our offseason here, right? We want to, give back and show the love, and thank you to the man, the lunatic, for helping us out on that. And, guys, how do you join in? So, again, relatively straightforward. If you've been here before, every time you drop $10, bam, you are automatically entered. Membership has its perks. If you are an MCF member, you do get an additional bonus entry, but those entries do continue to stack for every $10 drop. So, the sky's the limit as far as entries for that. And yes, we'll have a separate day 1 and day 2 raffle. So can't wait to see who those lucky winners are going to be. On
day 3 of the draft, we will not be live for that one. we have actual plans on that afternoon. So we will do a wrap up that night on everything. But on day one, the first round, we will be doing that first round live with you guys here. And I know a lot of people are going to be doing that too. That's fine. I mean, we want to make sure we get like kind of every little minute there of what's going on as we lead up to the 24th pick of the first round and see what happens when we traded. Who knows? But there's that. And then there's also day 2, which is round 2 and 3. So that day 2, we'll have another jersey raffled off for a very lucky winner here from the man, the Lunatic. Much love to him. And again, if you want to do some quick math, maybe. I mean, look, right now. So, for example, Skeptical Fan dropped a $2 pre-stream super chat. Yeah. He's 8 away from being in this raffle. And since Skeptical Fan is in the membership, any level of the member, I'm talking Navy, Blue, Silver, Star, or over everything, he gets not just when you hit $10, but 8. He needs 8 more to get to that raffle entry. And once you get in the raffle, if you're in the membership, you get a bonus raffle entry. So he would have 2 at that point.
Jason Renfro, you are locked and loaded with the entries already.
He's got 2 entries. He's got 2 entries plus the bonus entry. So he's rolling right now. He's got 3. No one's got anything right now for this raffle. So for day 1 and day 2. Now we'll have 2 separate winners. Remember that. You can't win both days. But if you have a chance to win, we'll have 2 winners winning a jersey each on each day of day 1 and day 2 of the raffle. So, if you have any questions, let us know. And I'm updating the board right now.
Yeah, go ahead and update the board, baby. I'm going to do some shout-outs here.
Let's go.
Hit up some comments here in the chat as well. So, first of all, thank you very much to Luis Ortiz in the house. And we can discuss the JPJ concussion issues. So, we get into that in a little bit. But I have to be honest, I personally haven't heard too much about those specifically. At
center, there have been some medical stuff there, but again, as a late first rounder, early second rounder, I don't really have much problem with that.
But drops all the way down to the 3rd round. I feel like at that
third round, no, he ain't going that far
because of concussion issues. I mean,
he ain't going down that far, guy. I mean, he could. I mean, again, I don't know. The thing is that he's going to be going maybe early second round at the latest.
Okay.
My point is that if you don't feel good with him, I like Graham Barton. Just being honest, that's from Duke. That's the guy I'd get without even a blink of an eye. This at least it's like 1A or 1B with those guys at center. So I'd go with either or.
So of course we have the man Rolando Rodriguez all the way from South Texas. Much love, C. Bass, the over everything legend himself, who is gonna be flexing one of those perks here in just a few minutes. So let's see who else we have here. Stephen White, hello and hi. Thomas Garrett, the Superior. Garrett, of course. Colleen Cat, hello and hi, what's up? And by the way, we had a relatively busy weekend here with the family. Have an even busier one up ahead. So, the draft and the MC.
And life.
So, Jason Renfro, of course, in the house. The stream boss himself. We got Bruce, got the Toxic Juice. John Syme, hey, with their Captain Crunch locked and loaded. You see Daniel Berry Sports, what's up? Spoony Dog representing. The Achana, thanks for rolling through here.
Yeah.
Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical. Brandon James, what's up? Double R, salute to you. Madman, I know we were rocking the late night. Hopefully we made it just in time for you. Freedom First did manage to be first. Good for you, Freedom. Let me come back down. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Jorge Hernandez, what's up? Also from South Texas. Hey, that's South Texas representation. So, huge shout out to everybody here. Much love.
Let's get rolling into
Bruce
this.
said, I'm making burgers for this show. That's how locked in I am this week.
Awesome, brother. Hey, we got you. And we got great shows coming up. We'll do we haven't bombarded you guys with mock drafts. We haven't bombarded you with player names. We got a couple names. And I'm going to touch on a couple tonight. But our real mock drafts coming up starting tomorrow or, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to do our mock draft maybe up to the last second because I want to give you guys the realistic mock draft. And I'm going to drop a couple names for you tonight that we can also look forward to towards this draft here right around the corner. Less than a week away. So,
yeah, now that it's, you can put the countdown timer to the draft. What's happening in the NFL and beyond? Because remember, now the NFL news is like even more Cowboy adjacent with the draft around the corner.
Actually, nothing adjacent today. Straight up Cowboys. And that's what I wanted to say, starting with, and I'm going to shout out Seabass. I know he's in the chat. I want him to hear what we're saying. Maybe he'll touch on some of these topics when we are able to get him on here. I just want to kind of blast through a couple of these quickies because not a lot of news came out today. I want to go through a couple of these things, and he can touch on them if he wants. But what we want to talk about with Seabass. His thoughts on free agency. and his thoughts about this upcoming draft. So, we'll get to that, of course.
So what's going on?
Shortly,
baby?
yeah. What's going on? Let's talk about Dak Prescott. We're going to start right into it. Dak Prescott. So listen to this. Remember, what was the key thing that we heard from Dak Prescott 2 days ago when he was interviewed in that cancer gala, the kids cancer gala? It was when it came to, it was just about like the players we're not getting all that stuff. But when it came to the contract, when it came to the contract, it's about him saying, "I'm not looking to be the number one guy, paid guy." We heard this from Dak. This is from his own mouth. So when we look at the APY, right, the average per year numbers for quarterbacks right now, Patrick Mahomes, his new contract, I know he was at like 45 or 50 million, but now he's at $52.65 million with his average per year numbers at this point, which would put him as the second highest APY behind Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow right now, 55 million average, per year is his contract. Mahomes is second with a $52.65 million number there. So just think about this for a second, guys. With those are the numbers there. What about Dak's projected APY, average per year money? If you look at the fact that he doesn't want to be the number one guy, it doesn't mean it's Joe Burrow. Could that mean it's more Patrick Mahomes? Could that mean it's under 52 million? That's all I'm saying. Because, or around 52 or less. Because if you look at his kind of new projection, I'm hearing a lot of places saying 49 million, 50 million, 51, 52 million. For Dak. You're looking at $49 to $52 million for Dak Prescott, possibly right now.
So basically, if you take that comment of, I don't want to be paid, the highest paid guy, it's not like, we're looking at Joe Burrow's contract. It's like the ceiling is at Patrick Mahomes type of thing.
Again, Patrick's new updated APY number is $52.65 million, which is, again, the second highest. And what this does is, people were saying 60 million was Dak's number because it was at 55 for Joe Burrow. But he's not even, I don't know if he's looking at the Burrow number, and I don't know if it's about a $5 million jump as well for Dak right now. It seems like he could get some record-breaking numbers in other categories, like the guaranteed money. That he could get some number, like he could be the highest guaranteed signed player in history, or even the highest signing bonus in history.
Okay.
But 60 million, I'm hearing, was never the number. Mahomes is the one that controls the market, and rightfully so. So Mahomes at 50, with the new moves that he's made on his deal, whatever's remained on his deal, it's at $52.5 million. You're looking at Dak at 52 million or less. Is what I'm hearing.
I think part of it too is, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, but when it comes to the timing of when these quarterbacks were, like the life cycle of where they're at in their quarterback careers, I think that's also part of the reason why Dak's number, Mahomes is the ceiling, right? The reason Joe Burrow got paid more than Mahomes isn't somehow because Joe Burrow is going to
he's not better,
supplant him or whatever.
That's why he's hit at the right time where it was the ceiling.
Initial contract, exactly.
Yeah, that's true as well.
I'm just trying to throw that out there that obviously is difference part of that factor, but that actually makes a lot of sense that Mahomes is the ceiling in this regard.
I just wanted to throw it out there because you also look at guys like Justin Herbert, who's at $52.5 million. Would he take it behind him? I mean, that's his first contract, right? Lamar Jackson at $52 million. You have Jalen Hurts at $51 million. Aaron Rodgers at $50.3 million. Russell Wilson at $49 million. Kyler Murray at $46.1 million. Deshaun Watson at $46 million. And Josh Allen at $43 million. Right now, Dak's at $40 million. You look at the average, the APY per year. So Dak would probably be falling in about $52 million or less. Between 49, no lower than 49, and maybe no higher than $52 million. And that's not going to be necessarily set in stone, and just like the projections showing that may be more realistic now than the over $55 to $60 million range.
Yeah, so, and that's exactly what we're trying to say, hold on, Rodriguez, that just because the salary cap is going up, and that's like the quote-unquote initial projections, that's what we're trying to say, that now that we're actually here in this moment, the numbers are looking and sounding a little bit different.
When Dak said he's not looking to be the number one paid guy, and that's $55 million with Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes is the number one guy, and he's getting $52.5 million. That seems to be a little over $52.5 million. That seems to be the marker more than Joe Burrow, and I think that
Seabass thinks that Dak is saying that it's just strictly PR talk. Like he's just saying what he thinks. People want what you actually knows people want to hear.
Again, I think that he also said he wanted to help the team. So I think, again, baby, you said this the other day, and I don't know if Seabass was here. I mentioned it as well. That he's going on his second big contract. You're not going to get as big of a contract on your second contract as your first one when you were in the prime. Now he's at over the middle part of his career. Now he's getting either something similar. He's still getting a raise. right? He's still getting a $10 million raise a year, but he's not getting, I'm not the best guy in the league in the future of the league anymore. He's like a solid guy now. And that's what
you pointed it out. Not even Mahomes is getting paid more than Burrow, even though obviously Mahomes should be the number one paid guy.
And he restructured his numbers to not even go past Burrow. It's like an anomaly almost. It's kind of like when Zeke signed his deal. We overpaid for that running back. Kind of Burrow is the overpaying of the quarterback.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that situation. So Dak falling back in where he's at in his career right now sounds like it's more of a, I would even say, let's say $50 to $55 million range. For me, that's what I would say. But when you look at the number one guy, which is truly Mahomes, it's under $52 million for Dak Prescott. So at this point, I think a lot of people would say, fuck it. I mean, he's $40 million. He's going to hit us $40 million next year. Anyways, another $12 million ain't going to cost us anything. Let's get Dak.
Final blurb I'll say. Remember, Stephen Jones is the one handling most of these contracts on the Cowboys side. And if you recall, when we signed DeMarcus Lawrence, he was not the highest paid defensive tackle, but he certainly did get, he did get something. He was something for like just a little bit of time. Was it maybe most guaranteed?
Yeah,
or maybe for a little while he was the highest paid
at his position,
or something.
I think. Maybe for a day or two.
Yeah, so like you said, the Cowboys can certainly help Dak set a record in some other way that isn't whatever the APY will end up being.
Yeah, exactly. So any quick comments on this Dak insight? This is just bouncing off what he said the other day, and I took a look at this a little closer and really looked at what the league's about and where people are kind of falling now, and it sounds like all these big contracts are going to slow down a little bit for the guys that are going for round 2 of their big contracts, like the Dak Prescotts. It's not going to be 60 and 70 million. That'll be for the younger guys. That'll be for the guys getting drafted this year, in 4 years, they'll be hitting 70, 65, and because that'd be their big first bag, their first contract. While, other guys getting their money now, like maybe Lamar Jackson or Burrow, they will go back and maybe even, instead of 70 million when they get their next chance to get money, Burrow's going to get maybe 58 million. Maybe 60 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, at most. He's not going to go over the other younger guys with the bigger future. So I think that's the way these quarterback contracts are going to rise in groups and chunks depending on where you are in your career. If you're young and rolling, Trevor Lawrence is going to be up there with Joe Burrow. Yeah. He's going to get paid more than Dak and more than Mahomes. But the Dak situation, he's just floating around, right around wherever Mahomes is a little behind him. That's where Dak's going to probably be most of the time. So, behind Mahomes right now, under $52 million. Yeah. So, anyways, anything else maybe on that?
No, let's keep it rolling.
Now, Dak is one thing. I want to talk about a legend, Emmitt Smith. And he's talking about this entire team, what we need to do. And, he's always have his 2 cents on things. Listen, my favorite player of all time, Emmitt Smith, he had an opinion on what the Cowboys franchise needs to do to end this lengthy Super Bowl drought. What did Emmitt Smith have to say, baby?
I think there needs to be a complete realignment of vision and expectations. Not just on the business side, but also on the football side. I think anytime you draft a player to come to the Dallas Cowboys, I shouldn't have to tell you what to expect. You should come in here with the level of expectation that I'm going to be part of a storied legacy organization and I have a chance to add to that story. If you're not looking at it from that perspective, if you're not a big Cowboy lover like many of us was back in our day, you don't need to be in Dallas.
I cannot agree with that more. We need to find the identity that these guys want to be Cowboy players. Again, we know it's about the money and the business, but when they latch on to the star, it's got to be a lifelong thing. It's got to be like a family thing. I think that's what Emmitt Smith is kind of trying to say. It was like that in the 90s. Now, not as much.
No, but the point is that the front office sets the tone, and unfortunately, that tone has been absorbed by the players. So that's his kind of point. Like, it's not just the front office that needs that realignment. Yeah, it is the players.
But they set the tone.
It is our team.
They set the tone. They set the that feeling from the lack of accountability from the top.
So, and honestly, Emmitt Smith's just as frustrated at the lack of anything from our Cowboys as well. He said, quote, "They do need some more options. I don't know if they should go after somebody in the draft, especially high in the draft. They may not want to draft somebody high. There are other needs. I think we do have some quality guys we can work with right now, which is fine, and that has to be proven out. But still, you want to be able to have enough depth and a variety if you can, especially in today's football game, because there ain't no more bell cows."
And then he's talking about the running back position. So, you want to go draft the guy, quality guys you can work with right now, and you want to bring in guys in the draft, but not, he's not even sure. He's saying maybe they don't want to go with somebody high as a running back in the draft.
And I think the point of the whole bell cow is, outside of Derrick Henry, has there been a singular running
Josh,
back in the last handful of years? Like after
Josh Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey, very few.
But a running back who can fully carry the run game basically on their own, which is what, I mean, that's how I take a bell cow. You know what I mean? You can give them anything, they're still going to keep on trucking.
But Emmitt Smith is saying it. There's no more like Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders or those kind of running backs anymore. There's running back by committee. That's a fact. Even Saquon Barkley is not the only guy getting the ball there. When he paid neither Josh, they are split time. Maybe 70% of the time it's them, but that's not bell cow even in that way.
And you mentioned McCaffrey. He's a different type of running back. Anyway, back to Emmitt Smith saying, quote, I got to wait until the draft is over with to see what they do, because they may go after some of the players they lost or things they need to shore up, and they may feel good with some of the talent that they actually have. I know people are talking about us because we haven't made any major moves in free agency market, which is fine. Are we building upon the legacy, or are we just allowing the legacy to erode and be lost in the mix? We need to get back to legacy building.
I agree. I would love that.
What stone is our legacy buildings built out of? You know what I mean? Like, what is the brick and mortar of legacy?
Unfortunately, right now, this is the brick and mortar holding up this foundation, and it ain't good. When I look at what this front office could, I agree with Emmitt Smith, as I usually do. But when I look at this front office, what they're missing is no moves in free agency. We know about the lack of moves, right?
Yep. Unfortunately.
So, my question, you can see it in the we have Emmitt Smith's thoughts, but it's also when it comes to free agency, we've made two moves: Eric Kendricks and Royce Freeman. We just got him last week for veteran base minimum. So, where are three positions or three areas the Cowboys could attack in free agency? And I hate to say like before the draft, but I am talking before the draft this week. Now, the question is, will they do it? The answer is clown show no. They won't do anything, I think, this week. But this is for this week before the draft. How can you get some things shored up before the draft? If there's a position you want to look at and say, I don't want to worry about this position in the draft, who can you get in there right now and take a chance with in free agency? And there's a couple names I'm going to bring to you. But I believe these names you should also keep in mind, not for now, but for the week after. After the draft. Some of these names will pop up again if they're not signed. So, here's some positions I believe we can go at. And again, I'm going to re-go at the linebacker spot. Because we, of course, picked up Eric Kendricks, who's replacing LVE, and I think that's an upgrade. Damone Clark is the other linebacker like last year. Demarion Overshown is our third linebacker. Of course, not included on this list of linebackers would be Micah Parsons, but he's also obviously can play linebacker, and he will be playing that on third downs. He'll be blitzing as a linebacker. So those guys are kind of your core. You, of course, have Marquise Bell that can go out there and play a little bit of that, hybrid linebacker safety role, and Buddy Johnson, who's on a practice squad. That is it. That is our linebacking core. Now, we're going to run three linebackers this year, according to Stephen Jones the other day. I don't believe it like that, but we definitely still need at least a little more depth on here, in my opinion. So if we don't want any of our picks telegraphed for this upcoming draft at linebacker, because it will be obvious when we need a linebacker, there are going to be teams that jumping us for linebacker. If we get any of these following names, it would help us be a little more discreet about our picks. I think people know a little less about us. Zach Cunningham still floating around out there. Shaq Leonard, Kawan Alexander, Jared Davis, and Blake Martinez. Now, some of these guys probably will never come here. You'll probably never see the Cowboys go after any of these guys. But some options floating around out there. I think most of them are still free agents. So, let me know if you like any of those names. Now, when I look at another position on defense, it's all defense here. Edge rusher. If you want to focus on offense, edge rusher. We got DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Sam Williams, Chauncey Golston, Junior Fehoko, Darrell Johnson, and Tyrus Wheat. That's our defensive outside edge rushers, not inside, outside guys. So, some veterans who can step in and fill in this role to keep the Cowboys from drafting an edge in a desperate kind of matter next week. Emmanuel Ogbah, he's still out there. I'm pretty sure. Isn't Carl Lawson still out there? Jerry Hughes, Charles Harris. If you get any of these guys signed on a pretty decently cheap contract this week, it won't cost. We have 5 comp picks available. And I think that, if we take one, if we got one, we lost a comp pick, a 7th round comp pick, because we got, Jerry Hughes. That would mean that we still get four comp picks. You can't get 5 or 6 or 7. You're going to get 4. So Stephen Jones knows we can still sign one other player, a low-level player, and not worry about losing a compensation pick. So that's at linebacker. That's at edge. What about cornerback? Because to me, cornerback is honestly, I would actually obviously go defensive tackle, nose tackle. But, I raised Isaiah Buggs and a couple other names. Still a lot of guys floating around. I said the Cowboys assigned somebody after the draft. But cornerback's a little more risky. If one of our starters go down, we go to Nashawn Wright as a starter.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. So, right now it's Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, Jordan Lewis, Nashawn Wright, Eric Scott Jr., and Josh Butler. I'm sorry, but after the 3 starters, and these guys can be injured. We got 2 guys injured out of those 3 starters. It's a huge drop-off. And we know the issues when we dropped up at cornerback. So some veterans who can inject experience into the cornerback room before the draft. I'm going to say his name once again, Stephon Gilmore. Still out there floating around. Looks like the Panthers are going to pass on his ass. And they're not going to pick up Stephon Gilmore right now. It looks like they're only going to get Jadeveon Clowney. So Stephon Gilmore
might be back on the table.
He's an option. You go with an elderly Patrick Peterson. I always said a guy named Steven Nelson is a very good, solid outside cornerback. So I would have no problem with Steven. He's still out there. Steven Nelson, Stephon Gilmore, still Trey Flowers, Justin Bethel. There's a lot of solid veterans that are not really starters like for a whole year, but they can run in there and play on the outside in case any of our guys go down. You can push. If you get an outside corner, almost either as a starter or as a good backup, you can push Deron Bland back to the slot cornerback. Then you can kind of take it easy on Jordan Lewis at times and play different kind of defenses when you have 4 good corners. So that's why I believe there's enough good cornerbacks out there in free agency. We can afford to sign one for a couple $1 million easily. So again, will the Cowboy front office do it? Probably not. But I do believe that these guys right now would make our draft easier if we touched a position or 2 of this before entering the draft on Thursday. Any quick thoughts out there?
I mean,
yeah.
I'm with you, and I'm also with Mr. Seabass, who says that I want Gilly back. I agree. Like I said, I was sad to see him, go at the time.
But
right?
he's asking. It sounds like he's asking for like $11 million. No one's paying that.
Yeah.
Even $8 million, I don't think the Cowboys are signing him back.
No.
So it's got to be a big drop.
I think it's more just the fact that, again, as he realizes that the market for him is just not going to accommodate the money that he's looking for, eventually his price will drop down to the point where a team, basically he'll agree to some lower offer. It's just a matter of, will it be the Cowboys?
Yeah, will it be low enough to hit the Cowboys?
Another team that offers him more than the Cowboys probably will/would.
That's why I'm not going to hold my breath for him, but there's a couple other names there, like Steve Nelson. I wouldn't have a problem bringing in on this team. Not a household name necessarily, but we don't need that. Mm-hmm. We need a solid veteran as a backup possibility.
Luis
One of our
Ortiz
starters
is
go
also
down.
throwing out there that there's still a lot of good corners in the draft as well. So
there
if
are.
the Cowboys
And it's
decide
deep.
to,
And
again, go in a cheaper, younger direction, the problem is that, you're right. That player might be decent, will definitely add something to the team, I'm sure, but they will not be able to replicate Gilmore's performance.
Exactly.
On the field
You got to remember,
now.
the reason I'm saying veteran is because we need a veteran back there in the sense of you don't want a rookie corner thrown into the mix. You do that, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have issues. It's like throwing Nashawn Wright in the mix. He might be in the league 3 years. He's still playing like a rookie. You get a rookie, he's going to play like a rookie. You get him in the 3rd, 4th, 6th round, he's going to play like a rookie as a backup. I cannot count on that. Cornerback is too important in these schemes where you have the pressure defense. So you have to get pressure. You got to, Zimmer's going to play a very detailed and disguising kind of defense. We have to make sure we have corners that lock it down, even for just a couple seconds. Now, J.C. Jackson, love that name, love that option there. Adoree Jackson, he's out there still. So a lot of great veteran depth still floating around. I see Tyrone Church laying it out there. So to me, I wouldn't worry about the draft as much right now. I would look for a guy in free agency. And the Cowboys, I'm telling you, all those names that you put there, Adoree Jackson, J.C. Jackson, those guys will be after the draft signings by the Cowboys. I think before the draft, you look at lower level guys that won't hurt the comp equation for these Joneses. So you look for a guy like, what's his name? I can't believe I can forget his name. I just saw not Steven Nelson. Like that's a guy to me I would focus on. The Cowboys maybe pick it up for depth, and then afterwards maybe you can pick up one of these other, I would say, quote unquote names like Adoree Jackson, like a J.C. Jackson, and then then we'll feel a lot better about our cornerback spot. We don't have to go draft, in my opinion. So
yeah, I think it's more to address some of the comments in the chat. I think it's more that obviously Gilmore knows our team, is a little familiar with it, but with the addition of Zimmer, obviously our defense is changing. So that familiarity, it's more about the familiarity with the fellow players than it is to me any kind of schematic continuity. But just throwing this out there, you guys said it. No, I'm just saying, you guys even said it. There's other cornerback free agent options. So maybe Gilmore just is not the direction that the Cowboys want to go in with Zimmer on the team. You get what I'm trying to say?
He's not on board with everything. Maybe when he sees some Gilmore.
Yeah, let's say draft is over. Cowboys are rushing. Okay, now we're going to make our moves. We're trying to get a free agent cornerback. Maybe Gilmore was just never the direction they were going to go in anyway.
Interesting. Could be. I mean,
which would disappoint me because I do personally want to see him back.
That reasoning is good. He knows our team. I mean, that's huge, and especially in again different defense of scheme, but knows the players. So he'd be on the same page.
Yes. So anyway, just throwing that out there, and Luis Ortiz also throwing out there. Bland was really good his rookie year, and he was an undrafted free agent. So
no, he was not. He was a 5th rounder. We had 4 5th rounders that year, and Deron, or was it 5th or 4th round? He was 5th rounder.
Was it a comp pick?
Who? Maybe, but it doesn't matter. It was a 5th round. We had 4 5th rounders that year. Mark Hosepian in the house. Aloha. Ooh. And welcome in here, repping that star over everything all the way in Hawaii with that 5 on it.
Much love.
What did the man say?
Big mahalo, Mark Hosepian, saying, all things being equal, we have 2 PB-CBS.
What is it?
Peanut butter? Sorry, I know the cornerbacks, but I don't know what the PB.
It's some cornerbacks. Not PB? Not press box. No, I gotta get that. I don't know.
I don't know why I feel so bad because I genuinely read that as peanut butter cornerbacks. I'm not joking. So please, Mark.
Yeah. So give us a little more heads up.
Help
what you
your
mean
old
by that.
OCW out. Anyway, let me read the rest of it, though, without the peanut butter context. But all things being equal, we have 2 peanut butter cornerbacks. None of our linebackers are worth anything. Defensive tackle is a huge hole. Center, left tackle, so many more important positions than the cornerback. It's clowns. So, okay. So, okay. So, Tyron Church also read it as peanut butter cornerback, so I feel a little bit better. Just a tiny bit. I think we all just want some PB&J sandwiches or something. But he also said there's no free agent cornerback that's better than Gilmore. With his follow-up $2 holler to that $5 holler. So again, that's
my point. Yeah.
For this team specifically, I 110% agree. There's no free agent cornerback out there that's going to do better, in my opinion, than the way that Stephon Gilmore can. Even under Zimmer with all the changes he's bringing.
There's his comment right there. I 100% agree. And that's my point. Yeah. Nashawn Wright. Those 2 words should scare the living shit out of every Cowboy fan.
Pro Bowl, not peanut butter.
Oh, Pro Bowl cornerbacks. Yeah, no, we do have 2 Pro Bowlers. Remember, DeRon Bland and Trayvon Diggs, but so is Stephon Gilmore. That would be 3 Pro Bowl cornerbacks. I know, under the star, it's only 2. But, yeah, I mean, I'm with you 100%, Mark. I've been screaming about this for a while. We need to solidify the cornerback spot, not just for Stephon Gilmore and the veteran leadership he gives and, the fact that he's the best remaining kind of free agent now. But you know what else? You get that outside cornerback to move DeRon Bland where he is locked down. I compare this to Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith at tackle, fantastic, great. But at guard, he's elite. I know people don't understand this, but DeRon Bland, he got some picks on the outside, and that's great. That's an anomaly. It's not going to be happening that much. As an outside corner, he's fantastic. He's great as an outside corner. As a slot corner, he's elite. As a nickel cornerback, he is elite. So if you get Stephon Gilmore, now you're getting the best 3 guys in a big way on the field at the same time. And we're going to use 3 cornerbacks this year. It's not going to be 3 safeties anymore. So we need all 3 guys. It needs more importance for the cornerback spot. We need all 3 guys to be good. And we need the backups to be good too. And Nashawn Wright ain't good.
Now, Seabass is also throwing out there, remember the dream that was never realized?
Yeah,
he said it. Diggs,
all 3
Bland,
guys.
Gilmore is solid, and we never saw it come to fruition.
That's true.
Lewis is just a sprinkle on top in that room, hypothetically, if Gilmore returns. Honestly, Lewis, to me, is like the sprinkles on top of that addition in the sense of he can actually contribute in a bigger way if that's our kind of cornerback output. you know?
Yeah, if Gilmore goes on the outside, see, Jordan Lewis will come in to play some nickel corner situations. But the main thing is, DeRon Bland, if any injury occurs to Diggs, knock on wood doesn't happen, or Gilmore, knock on wood doesn't happen, Bland can easily make the transition to the outside, and we easily make a transition with Jordan Lewis starting back at nickel corner, which is really the only cornerback spot. He's not going to play on the outside. So that is, there's so many advantages of having Gilmore or any good outside. That's why I'm saying any real solid good outside cornerback is major for our team. Not a rookie. I don't want a rookie. I don't need a rookie right now for this year at least. That's my thinking. We might get a 5th rounder. That's for the future. But that's not going to be this year's. He'll just replace Deshaun Wright, and it's still scary. We need to get a guy out there that knows what to do out there. So, I don't know. That's just kind of the way I'm looking at it here.
Oh,
yes,
two funny comments here.
Yes.
First of all, John Stein said, choosy dogs, choose Jif. Cracks me up. A Revelation journalist said, guys, undrafted free agents are who the Cowboys should go for. Cheap players that the Cowboys fan base loves, as well as Steven. Just drop out of the draft process and just go with undrafted free agents.
Well, at least we have one guy that can help us when it comes to that. And he's on my front cover. He's on my my thumbnail here. And the only guy that can help us with undrafted free agents is the great Will McClay. He's always helped. Why do we do? Stephen Jones likes it because Will McClay does a great job at doing it. Him and Chris Hall, his right-hand man, they're the ones that get the undrafteds. We get some starters at the undrafteds because of this man on the screen you see here.
Maybe he should start sucking at that a little more then. So the Cowboys can change their trajectory or something. So, and, we only have, I think, one or two other things to touch on before we have a very special guest on here in just a few minutes.
Can't wait to hear from him. But as I get there, I do want to shout out, because with Mark Hosepian dropping the love and taking Jason to 13 points on the Stream Boss, I want to stop for a second and give a big shout out to De Lunatic for a very special raffle going on that you get into literally right now. And because of those 2 drops by Mark Hosepian, he's $3 away from officially being in our De Lunatic draft day 1, day 2 jersey raffles.
That's right, guys. You drop $10, bam, you're automatically in it. Every additional 10 is an additional bonus entry.
Yep, you can stack them.
Membership has its perks. You get a bonus entry there as well.
Yeah, you can stack these unlimited. So as many as you want, to up your chances to win one of these jerseys. One winner on day 1, one winner, a different winner on day 2. So 2 different winners going to get a jersey your choice, sewn and stitched, right here from us, My Cowboys Family. And hey, remember, the week after that will be the April jersey raffle for those in the star level, over everything level membership, and those weekly winners for the month of April. So a lot of stuff going on, but for this draft special raffle brought to you by The Lunatic, right now we got Jason Renfro's got 3 because he's got 2 plus his bonus entry. Why does he get that bonus raffle entry? Because he's in the membership. Any level membership, you Navy Blue, you get it as well, or the over everything level, you get it. And of course, you see there, day 1, day 2, 2 different jersey, 2 different days, 2 different jersey raffles. But I think that's all we have right now when it comes to this thing we started today. I think Skeptical Fan is 8 away from getting in. Marco Septian is 3 away from getting in. So we got right now just one guy in the raffle. Can win both. I guess can win 1 jersey right now. But I know we're going to get some more people in here. So again, kicking off today. It's a Sunday, but it's starting really the draft week. So good luck to all. And hey, can't wait to see who's in this thing to try to win a sewn and stitched authentic black jersey of your choice, different eras, and old school players, Hall of Famers, or new players right now, right? So a lot of choices. A lot of choices. So as we wrap this up and get the man Seabass on here, I want to finish up with something he's going to be touching on a lot. We just talked about free agency, and that's something he's going to talk about. We're also going to talk about the draft coming up here and what's the expectations and all this stuff. But look, I always like to put up this picture, this little breakdown I have of the Cowboys kind of draft picks. Not that one, this one. The draft picks with kind of the players we brought in for our 30 visits, which we know we always pluck guys, 2-3 guys from the 30 visit group. So you see our picks there, more or less. That's the right pick as far as the draft pick number overall. And I've said this from the beginning. I'm in favor of trade. I'm going to say we'll get more insight on our mock draft next week before the draft. But Jackson Powers Johnson will look into the concussion more this week. And also Graham Barton from Duke, who can play basically the whole offensive line.
Yeah.
But he's a little bit worse of a center overall than JPJ. But JPJ got those concussion concerns. So you have things to balance there. Both guys are end of the first round, beginning of second round prospects overall. That's number one centers in the league, both those guys. So to me, I would go center over their 7th or 8th offensive tackle. I would go over the first or second best center. So to me, that's would be like my first pick in that range. And I would not mind if I know you see people talk about linebacker or running back in second round. No, how about offensive tackle? I think there's a guy named Blake Fisher from Notre Dame. I would take a real good look at him. There's also a couple other guys. One of them on here, Kingsley Salmatia. He's a guy that could be there possibly for us in the second round. So to me, I'd be looking at tackle. Maybe then you give me the 8th best tackle. In the second, then I'll take overall. Yeah. That I'll take rather than the 6th best tackle in the first round.
Remember, one of the very, very recent kind of draft predictions that we talked about, and really not draft predictions, I would say Cowboy draft rumors in a way, was that the Cowboys were seriously considering double dipping at the O-line early in the draft. So, and we saw a few mock drafts, of people kind of speculating what that might look like or whatever. Some better than others, but it does bring an interesting conversation because we know that O-line is a very heavy need.
Yep.
I am holy crap.
We're getting like hail, guys.
But it's back to you, baby.
No. So I just want to throw in there. You look at the first couple of rounds, and I'm looking like offensive line is going to be like a real deal situation for us. I think we're going to focus on offensive line, and when we got 2 openings, I think that'll be a good place to look. Now, look, if we get a linebacker, we get a running back, a receiver, I would not be surprised, but I don't know. There's a lot of good offensive tackles that kind of float around there in the second round that are still top 10 in this draft. And to me, would be worth the chance to really get in there and say, hey, this is our starter. We got Chuma Edoga, he's the backup, but we got a starter that's going to learn from some veterans out there. And that's my hope, that we kind of go offensive line the first 2 rounds. Third round, that's where I think the Cowboys start really like dying for a running back. And I say for me, my guy is without question from Florida State, Trey Benson. Now I do like another guy I think the Cowboys took a look at him, or I don't know if ETN. I don't know if he's one of the guys the Cowboys looked at. He's a guy I like later in the rounds, like later in the draft. Very, very good, like overall kind of size and speed for him. But Trey Benson's like the best of that. He's got everything. And, a lot of people re-rated him now, kind of looked at him now, and when you watch his film, Trey Benson is like he can catch, block, run. He can do everything that you want a running back to do, and he's not too small, he's not too big. So Trey Benson to me is a fantastic pick in the third round, but not in the second round. The third round. I don't want to see Jonathan Brooks in the second. Or I see Trey Benson in the third. Now listen, I talked about it earlier. I would have traded down in the first round. I would not take a center, or I would try to trade down to the end of the first, the beginning of the second, and that's where I would get JPJ or Graham Barton. But you would get at least a 4th rounder back. If you get a 4th rounder back, you know what I would take in the 4th round? T'Vondre Sweat. I said it. T'Vondre Sweat in the 4th round. If we get that bonus pick, why not make it if you get a bonus pick, why not bring in someone who was supposed to be bottom of the first, beginning of the second round, football on the field, draft ready guy. I know he's dropped to the 4th. If he's in the 4th, I think I would take T'Vondre Sweat. Even with the issues he has, I know it's a risk. Some people would take him off his list.
Honestly, no, because I think 4th round is an appropriate risk-taking point for us in the draft. Because let's be real, we've said this before, I'm going to keep saying it again. We need to hit on those first 3 rounds in a way that we have never hit before. These guys not only need to be good, they need to be like immediate starters.
Yeah, they need to be
plug and play players that contribute heavily this year.
And that's why
anything past that, like you said, we can talk about maybe being willing to take a chance or a risk on a guy.
And if we decide to go linebacker in the second, in the third round we go offensive lineman, because I heard that Blake Fisher might be a 3rd rounder as well.
Okay.
Could fall into the 3rd. So we don't go second. We can still see him in the 3rd possibly. If we go that route, then we can still get Braylon Allen. I know a lot of people love Braylon Allen, and he's big running back. He's been working out with Derrick Henry. Braylon Allen from Wisconsin. He's a guy you could pick up if we trade back in the first and get that 4th rounder. That's another name you could pick up in the 4th round right there, Braylon Allen. There's another guard floating around you want to pick up in the 4th round, Trevor Keegan from Michigan. So there's a lot of options there. You go into the 5th round, and you start looking at guys like, okay, if we don't have a center by that point, now we can do a Biotish and try to get Arkansas's Bo Limmer. which would be a value pick at center. They're deep at center. That's why you don't have to go center in the end of the first.
Yeah.
But if you could trade back and still get a top center, that might be worth it, right? So that's an option there in that sixth round. In the fifth round, getting a center there. But there's also a chance that Cowboys go after a corner or let's say a safety. You go after someone like Jalen Simpson from Auburn. You can go in the sixth round there. To me, there's a guy in there from Texas, Jalen Ford, who's kind of a hot name there at the in that fifth, sixth, seventh round. So Jalen Ford is a guy you can see in the sixth or seventh round at linebacker. If you want to double up on running back, you go in the seventh round with someone like Rasheen Ali, who might even be an undrafted player from Marshall, running back. You could go edge rusher in the final round with someone from Mississippi, Ole Miss. Cedric Johnson, example, edge rusher there. Or if you wait all the way to the sixth round for running backs, again, ETN or Jace McClellan from Alabama. A lot of names floating around, guys, that are good and you can get good players. I'm talking about starting quality guys in the third, fourth, fifth round, sixth round, even seventh. Again, some guys could sneak in there. Now, will they? Of course, there's reasons why they slip into deeper rounds. But there are guys that this front office could hit on, not just early in this draft. If you trade back, trade down a little bit, you can add, players to pick and have less fear of failing if you miss on one or two guys.
Now, Asmodeus says, there's no way the fifth round grade ain't like a fifth round graded center is not gonna work.
Oh, I listen. I agree, but that's what. But again, the thing is that as a pick in the fifth round, he would be a plus pick. He'd be like a guy who fell too far. That he's more like a fourth rounder, which is where Biotish was picked. Now, Biotish had some issue, I think, with that injury. That dropped him from the second round to the fourth round. So, that was in college. He had a couple issues there, but he obviously panned out for us, risking the injury situation, risking it down to the fourth round. So, I would say fourth round was the limit, but I would not feel good about starting a fourth rounder.
I agree.
We're going to have Brock Hoffman starting, unfortunately, which I don't know if I feel better about that. So, again, a lot of options, but to me, center first. After you trade back and get an extra fourth rounder at the fourth or third rounder, you trade back, get a center, JPJ or Graham Barton. I would hit up Blake Fisher in that second round and solidify the starting offensive line. I would hit up the running back Trey Benson in the third round if he's there. If you trade him back, you get that Tavondre Sweat bonus pick. I'm just looking at it as a bonus pick. By trading back, that's great right there. You can add in there guys like again. We got running back, we got tackle, we got center. You can throw in there Jalen Ford later on in the sixth round from Texas at linebacker. You can throw in there a double up on running back. You want to go receiver. There's a couple options you can get in the fourth, fifth, sixth, in the fifth, sixth rounds that they can still be productive guys for this team. So again, if the Cowboys trade back, I think we're in business. If we don't trade back, we gotta wait it out. And it's kind of gonna be this day one when we are live with this draft. It's all going to be about that trade back or not, I think, for me. More than hoping we get a player to fall to us, I'd rather see the trade back and really look forward to day two of this draft. So any other comments from these names I just mentioned? Because I will mention a couple last names that final names before we get Mr. Seabass up here.
Of course.
That I wanted to touch on. And first, Tavondre Sweat. A couple things I want to mention here. They're saying not just will his partying be an issue, but it sounds like his weight will also always be an issue.
Okay.
So I don't know if maybe you want to rethink the Tavondre Sweat thing. People weighed him in spring 2022 at 346 pounds. Then he went up to 355 in spring 2023. In mid-January, about 10 days after Texas lost in the national semifinals, he weighed 393 pounds.
God dang.
Yeah. 50 pounds more than he is now. So,
big man.
And then he checked in on the ESOS Sports Performance Training Center in Dallas 3 weeks later. After 3 weeks of this, he was the only player that refused to stand on the scale at the Senior Bowl. Then in early March, he was at the Combine at 366 pounds. So obviously he was big at the Senior Bowl. He lost a little more weight, 366. His last verified weight was on March 21st in Austin, 367 pounds.
All right,
so his weight issues, fourth rounder, maybe fifth rounder. Maybe drop a little more. You can pick him up. Just saying. A lot of teams are backing away from Tavondre Sweat. Now, you want to talk about a line. If we don't go linebacker, look into sixth round or seventh round for a guy from Temple. The Cowboys have him on our list. I think he is right there. Linebacker Jordan McGee. He's ranked 362 there, so maybe a seventh rounder. But listen to him. It's a surprise little pick. If you could hear Temple linebacker Jordan McGee getting called. Don't say I didn't warn you guys. I mean, behind running back and offensive line, linebacker is one of the bigger things we need on this team. We may not be able to. That's why I say we get a free agent before the draft, because we may not be able to address it until after the draft, or even, at all in the draft. Let's just be honest. So it has to be after the draft. So the Cowboys have very limited draft capital. In the first 174 picks, we get only a chance to draft 3 times. So we're not going to use it on a linebacker, in my opinion. We're very selective, and I think it'll be offense mainly. So in this scenario, though, if we don't go a linebacker in the first day 1 or day 2, the first 3 rounds, look for Temple linebacker Jordan McGee. Jordan McGee would be a steal for the Cowboys late in the draft, 6th or 7th round. Again, we talked about Jalen Ford from the Texas Longhorns, but to me, it's more about how impressive this guy is when it comes to, production-wise, impressive. But athleticism, off the charts as a linebacker, all right? So just so you guys understand, at the scouting combine, Jordan McGee ran a 4.55 in the 40-yard dash, a 1.54 in a 10-yard split. Both of these times are considered elite for a linebacker. Now, the issue why he drops into later rounds, why? Undersized, which is kind of what we got, overshown, I would say, to some extent. And we got, safeties that are playing. We had Jaron Kearse. We had Marquise Bell playing linebacker. So he's a little undersized, which knocks him down the board into the 6th or 7th round. If Dallas wants a late round linebacker, I believe there's a couple options, and Temple's linebacker Jordan McGee is one of those good options of steal in the 7th round. So if we have to hit on our late round picks, I don't know. I think that he's one of the 3 guys. He's one of the late round picks that can really make an impact on this team. Mm-hmm. One other name I'm going to say here before we get it rolling here, baby, is on the offensive line. Even if we draft offense in the first 2 rounds, what about round 7 there? Even with the 245th pick, I want to see a guy from British Columbia, offensive tackle Giovanni Manu. And this is the guy that really the Cowboys were the first to kind of find him, and they're kind of leading the pack on kind of checking him out in his pro day.
Okay.
And we talked about him. You remember we talked about him, right? I mean, he's 6'8", 350 pounds, pure muscle. All right? And the reason why you probably never heard of him is because he's never played football in the United States. It was in Canada he played. He was born in Tonga, an island country in the South Pacific, and he eventually plays college ball in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. He also has great basketball skills, 6'8", 350 of pure muscle. So his athleticism he's light in his feet. He can, he's a raw talent. So we've
already seen it in the NFL with other players, right? Like they're wrestlers or they're this or that.
Some of them are
basketball as well.
Some of them are basketball players, right? So he had athletic skills, and he switched over to football, where he would make the most money in his career would be football for him if he can get polished, right? So at the British Columbia Pro Day, Manu shocked scouts and fans all over social media. We talked about him. He ran. Remember, this is a guy who is 6'8", 350 pounds. And he ran the 40-yard dash in 4.496 seconds. Under 5 seconds for a guy this big is unheard of. He weighed in at 352 pounds. He had a 33.5 vertical jump for someone who, again, is 6'8", 352 pounds.
That is a little cuckoo.
The combination of his size, freak athleticism, and sky-high potential is what you can tap into in the 7th round if you're going to roll the dice on Giovanni Manu, which I would do. That's our weakness, is the offensive line. Why not bring this guy in and see what he can give you? It's almost like Alarcon, except this guy's better, is what I'm hearing. So why not use a 7th round pick? You don't have to fight for his services as an undrafted free agent. You can just grab him with that 245 or even the 234. Pick him. Why not? To me, our weakness is our offensive line. Why not bring in a guy who could be a starter one day, possibly, if you develop him properly? Again, if he is sitting there late, I expect the Cowboys, and they are very interested in him. I'd actually be, if he's there at pick 234 in the 7th, I'd be surprised if the Cowboys do not draft him. And of course, even more surprised if pick 245 goes around and he's not drafted yet and the Cowboys pass on him. I'd be even more surprised. He will be picked by the Cowboys if he is there, I think, in the 7th round. Pretty sure about that. And the Cowboys will try to turn around and make him a star with that star in his helmet. I truly believe the Cowboys will try to do that. So there's some other extra names I threw in there for you guys to kind of marinate in. Any last comments before we get the man Seabass here up on the show and ask him a couple quick?
Of course.
You can let him know. I want to know what he thinks about things.
Asmodeus said somebody's going to get him before the 7th.
I am hearing he's so raw right now that someone would almost be a waste if they risked it. But yeah, it could. I guess it could happen. I mean, someone could grab him in the 6th for sure.
We'll see. So let me see here. Asmodeus said another Dexter Coakley, maybe.
When it comes to McGee, maybe.
Let me see. Rolling back a little bit here. John Symes said, could we cheap out at center and just buy one of those huge concrete tubes with the re-rod handle on top to put there? They don't cost a lot and then can be paid for with cash. It's right up the Jones's alley.
What do you think?
Hey, at this point, I'm willing to try anything once, right? Oh, so Luis Ortiz also threw out there, it took Beatis 3 years to adapt, and he was horrible here those first 2 years. Where he was our center.
Beatis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he lives, ate, drank with Dak Prescott, and he learned everything he needed to know. He improved quickly, or I think more fast than people expected from him.
Yeah, but I'm guessing his point is that we don't have that type of luxury in this scenario,
True.
right?
Very, very true.
So, Ronald Rodriguez said MCF, just put him at tight end. So Thomas Gary, much love, said if we get him, we will send him to Duke. So, anyway, back to you, baby.
Yeah, that's it from me, baby. We're here to hear from the man with the plan, Mr. Seabass.
Ooh, perfect.
And Seabass, appreciate you. I hope he calls in here real soon. We got draft stuff. We got free agency stuff. I cannot wait to hear from our over everything level member here, Mr. Seabass.
Yes, and I know he's been sharing some of his thoughts with us all here in the chat. But yes, guys, one of the awesome perks of being an Over Everything member is you do get to do these live streams with us once a month. And Mr. Seabass is not just going to be joining you guys hopefully here in just a few minutes, but he's also going to be joining us post-draft to kind of share his thoughts once the Cowboys are wrapping all their draft stuff up and we can actually see the moves that the Cowboys have promised us they'll make.
Yeah, and we're going to hear from Seabass in a moment, but baby, as we wait for him to call in, real quick, let's remind everybody who's running the boards.
Of course.
And let's remind everybody what they can get into starting tonight here, right? So who's running the boards first and foremost? Who's the sponsor of the week and the king of the Cash App?
Got to show the love to the man McLovin. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, of course. And if you look up above, Jason Renfro holding on somehow still to that stream boss with only 13 points left there. And he's also, Skeptical Fan.
No, and Jason Renfro is also the king of the cash, of the, not the Cash App. He's the king of the membership gifting side of things. But right now, the leader, as you look right above, it is Jason Renfro trying to go back again for another repeat. So much love to Jason Renfro as he takes a lead, and he might hold it down against Skeptical Fan tonight. When you look at the leader on the other boards, when you look at the Cash App leader and the Sponsor of the Week leader, it is the man McLovin still. And one more thing, baby, as we get into this this week starting tomorrow, we do have a little early special for you guys to get into a very special raffle coming on for this draft. Baby, why don't you explain real quick the Lunatics jersey raffle?
Again, thank you very much. But on day 1 and day 2 of the draft, we'll be raffling off a jersey of your choice. Any player, any style, any size. As long as we've got it, you got it. So how to enter? Every $10, bam, you're automatically in it. And those entries stack. So every $10 is an additional entry. The membership
ups your chances, right?
You get a bonus entry if you're in the MCF membership.
That's true. So good luck to all. Right now we got one guy in the thing. We'll see if anybody else enters here. Now let me get on to the ability to... Hold on, guys. Let me try to get this rolling here. I think we may have a call. Let me see. I think we may have a call. Oh, maybe not.
We just missed
the
call.
So I think if you call back, my guy, Seabass, we got you. We got you ready to roll, brother. So, again, waiting on you. Thank you. And we will be hearing from Mr. Seabass. I'm excited to hear what he's going to say. Again, jersey raffles, you see it's pinned above. Excuse me. It's pinned above the information. If you have any questions, let us know. I'll try to fix that the raffle stuff for like when you can exclamation point it later. But that's
perfect.
That.
But I think Mr. Seabass is we missed it again.
No,
you see it there?
No, that was from before. That's another message. That was from the message that I think before I even opened it, he had called. That's
Okay.
fine.
There we go. So let me go ahead and hit up one or two comments here in the chat real quick. As John Syme said, Jesus, that dude. By the way, was he 250 or 350?
350 pounds at 6'8".
Okay. So he said that dude is
6'9",
6'8",
actually,
and 350 is a monster. Before diabetes, I was an athletic 6'6" and 235 pounds, and I know what that's about. I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, and the guy's
being
solid.
his size.
He's not like Tavondre Sweat, kind of like 350. He's like solid, like Tyron Smith, 350. Like that's the way he looks out there. So big difference there, right?
So
yeah.
Jason Humphrey also. Oh, there we go. Perfect timing.
Here we go. Jason says he ain't lasted to the 4th. I agree.
Yeah.
Much love in the house. Let's see who's in
Seabass.
There he is. What's up, Mr. Seabass in the house?
What's going on, family? How you guys doing?
Hey.
Ooh, what is up?
We are doing great, man. Great to hear from you. And, hey, you can take it over right now, man. The show is yours. You heard some of the stuff we discussed already today. We're going to go into what some of your thoughts are about free agency and this upcoming draft. First and foremost, how are you doing, sir? How are you doing?
I am doing great. It's good to be here. It's good to be with you guys. It's good to be with everyone in the chat. I just turned 30, folks. So, yeah. So
happy birthday, bro.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
that.
club.
Welcome to the 30s and beyond.
That's not funny. I'm just playing. But, yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me. And I'm so happy to talk Cowboys. I've got so many things I want to talk about with the draft. I think you were kind of hitting them on the nail, MCF. I really like what you were saying about Tavondre Sweat and Jackson Power Jones. I can't remember his name right now.
JPJ, the center.
JPJ. But never mind all that. I'll let you take it away. I'll be here.
Oh, no, we're ready to roll. I mean, you heard some of that stuff. Baby, do you want to ask some questions? Because I know I'm kind of starting from where we left off, which was free agency.
So the last time we spoke, the Cowboys were knee-deep and doing absolutely nothing in free agency.
And it was before that, actually.
And we're actually...
Yeah, I think we spoke to them before even free agency started. So now we're hearing after free agency.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. How are you feeling about the Cowboys' lack of free agency moves?
I think I feel the same for the entire fan base. I think we're all kind of feeling the same sort of ass pain, if you will. We have an owner who wants to, in my sense, wants to be remedial in his approach rather than be the old Jerry Jones. There was an interview that he had some time ago, and I'm sure you guys have seen it. I'm sure we've all seen it. And it's him standing in front of a podium speaking to a crowd, and he says, there's no better time than to win right now, or something like that. I couldn't, give it to you verbatim, but there was a different time. There was a different fire in this man. And now that you have Stephen Jones, who, was a McDonald's equipment manager handling $1 million contracts now, I understand what Emmitt Jones, and I know you guys kind of alluded to what Troy Aikman had said in his interview. They're frustrated, like the fan base, and Stephen Jones, he goes on top of the podium and he speaks to the folks as when he's asked by one of the reporters, well, how do you respond towards the backlash of the fans on social media? Well, we feel that's frustration too, and so forth and so on. And it doesn't reflect that. It doesn't reflect that. So it's like, I think I speak for most of the fans in the span. I don't really speak for all the fans really, because there's DAK haters and then there's me. I like DAK. But they're piling this on DAK right now, yet they have known for years. People know this, and you guys have alluded to this on your show. Money can be restructured. Deals can be restructured. Money can be pushed into the future. I don't want to hear excuses about the money situation, and the cap just got a bump. There's nothing been done. Not a single thing. I don't consider an Eric Kendricks.
And don't forget
LVE.
Don't forget Royce Freeman, that running back.
And honestly,
okay, I'm gonna get there. I like the addition of Royce Freeman. Okay, because I feel losing Tony Pollard and Tony Pollard, excuse me, he was sort of that lightning, and then when we had Zeke, that was the thunder. You wanted somebody that was going to pound guys, and I kind of knew all along we weren't going to get Derrick Henry, but that situation would have amounted to something beautiful, folks. You guys don't even know, but that's neither here nor there. I like the addition of Royce Freeman. I like the way he runs. And I think that's good. I think that's a good addition. It's a decent addition. You tie that up with Rico. You tie that up with I don't know how much they're going to use Deuce Vaughn. I think that could be a good combination. But I still also think that that's not enough. That doesn't suffice. I still think that there should be someone that they draft at the running back position, not named Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, I agree. We agree with everything you're saying right now.
Maybe even you get 2 running backs. I don't know, but that's neither. I digress.
Well, I mean, you talked about all the great nothingness that we basically did there in free agency, and yeah, to me, I'm just saying, like the other coin of that too is like you said, there's no excuses as far as like the money side of things, and we didn't even bother to sign our own guys. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's like the salt on top of the wound.
Well, I mean,
that's what could to allude to what you were just saying. If I could piggyback off of that, MCW, there was nothing done with the top 3. Nothing. DAK just confirmed that in the interview when the talks start happening. Listen to that, folks. I quote, when the talks start happening. That means there's been nothing. And that pretty much confirms what we knew when whatever reporter came out and said that Jerry and DAK are not even having conversations, and that's fine then with Jerry. And that was some time back. We're just getting a rerun of this, but from DAK's side.
Yeah. That's a great point. And, I think he's not on this list, but like you brought up Royce Freeman. I understand the additions we have with Eric Hendricks and Royce Freeman are great for what they are for, but they're not going to help the team enough in
exactly.
And what we're trying to do here with what we're hoping that we can actually make a true run with most of the guys we have on this team. And it seems like we didn't replace most of those guys' departures there. Some of the returns are really low level, maybe outside of Jordan Lewis and Rico Dowdle, and then the additions are like specific spots of need, like power running back. A linebacker that stops the run. Okay, we got that, but that can't be. You gotta put that with other big moves. So we're not making any moves at all.
That's what scares me, and you were just saying earlier before I called in, a little snippet of what you were saying was we haven't even begun to get to post June to pick up some of those guys that are going to be left around there after the draft, because this is how Jerry is accustomed to doing his way of things in the Star.
Yeah. I mean,
it just sucks because you're not going to get anybody good. That's. I'm sorry, MCF.
Oh no. For number one, I wanted to say something about to Dark Raven. He said, "Go Cowboys!" Drop the $2 holler. And
I'm gonna go ahead and like that.
I'm just saying. Well, he didn't. He said something else, but
he said, "Go Cowboys!" and Ravens suck.
There you go. $2 holler, TTC rep. But also, I wanted to say about your comment of, oh man, I don't know why it slipped my mind because he was just.
I know with the drop and everything we just said.
Yeah, no, but he was making what were you just saying a minute ago, bro? About.
I apologize. Yeah, I cut you off. I was saying I really like the addition of.
Hello?
Oh my God, we all forgot.
Hello?
Oh no, he got.
Did we lose him? Hello? Check.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yes.
Oh, wow. I don't know what just happened there. And I totally just lost my train of thought there, folks. Wow, I'm so sorry. Wow.
We all lost our thought. All I know is that we didn't do enough to fix what we had.
I lost you guys right there.
You know Dark Raven's probably he's flapping his wings very proudly right now because he's like, oh.
You got us all off track. No,
Dark Raven, that's why they call you that. Okay. I'm sure he's laughing at me in the chat right now.
Probably. There he is. He's training in
man.
TTC. That's not TTC, though. Interrupting a non-TTC stream. Anyways, the thing is that we have a lot of guys we have missing. We didn't really replace them with enough. Even if we replaced some important spots, in my opinion, we didn't do enough. And that's where I remember leaving it on my side.
And that's what I was going to ask. MCW, I know you were talking about this earlier. Do you think, and I'm going to ask both of you, MCF, MCW, how much faith are you putting in stock towards these young cats coming in from the draft that we choose? And remind you, the last draft, we were all looking at these folks like Mozzie Smith and a certain other, names I don't want to get into right now because I'm focused on this draft now. We put a lot of stock in these folks. So we could repeat and screw it up, or we could actually hit on the nail, which we absolutely positively must do it. When it's like, time for the Marines to come in, they just destroy everything, right? So we have to hit on every nail in this draft. How much faith and how much stock are you putting into these young cats coming in and starting at a position and taking over for someone, let's say, who's been there 2 to 3 years, or someone who's a vet?
I want to be optimistic. I want to believe that they'll be able to do it. And I do remember when we talked about this a few weeks ago, I can't remember who was in the chat. I want to give this person full credit, though, because I definitely didn't think of this. But they even said, even when we have really bad draft years, we never have consecutive back-to-back, like, really shitty years like that. Like, we've had off years before, but they tend to kind of be followed up by better draft situations. So on one hand, I'm also kind of like, oh, okay, like we probably statistically will probably have a better looking draft class this upcoming one, and they'll probably do a little bit better. But my concern is, like I've said, the pressure we're putting on them. More so than any other team in any other situation, we're looking at very likely our first 3 picks, like I said, mandatory, having to produce, having to perform in some way. Or else
right?
whatever our plan is now.
Without us picking in the 3rd round, mind you?
Yeah.
If we drop back.
And I want to be specific. When I mean produce, I don't just mean like, oh, they have to end up being good. No. They need to give us results now. We're talking immediate impact type of thing. So in that sense, I don't have a lot of faith because it's very hard. It's one thing to ask for maybe 1 pick, maybe 2 picks, depending on the position. And I'm more confident in our O-line picks, by the way. Right. I do feel fully confident we'll have another Tyler Smith-esque situation in that we'll get a talent.
Frederick, please.
Yeah. Well, I think these guys right now could be something comparable to him. Yeah. I think the guys that are there at the top of the center list. Now, I'm gonna answer that, and again, you see last year's picks, But when I look at this year where everything's kind of sitting, to me, it's the first 3 rounds. Here's the thing: I don't want to see the Cowboys drafting. Okay, here's why I don't want. Here's why I don't want the Cowboys drafting a linebacker in the 2nd round. Okay. Because how much will he start? How much will he be an impact player? I don't want to see the Cowboys drafting an edge rusher in the 3rd round. Why? Because how much is going to be an impact player? We got 4 of the guys right now in front of him. So I got to see guys that are starters. You just can't. You got to pick the player, but also a guy who's forced to come in there and start right away, like offensive line, like center, like tackle. One of the reasons we were a little bit concerned when we did bring in Mozzie, in the sense, like, we already knew he wasn't going to have the type of impact you normally get from a 1st round pick because of the position that he was playing, right? So, but we kind of assumed, like, okay, that also means that we're going to see that from some of the other picks, and when we didn't, that's another reason why our draft felt so bad. Yeah. So I agree. I think getting a linebacker in the 2nd round would give similar vibes.
If I may,
of course.
If I may piggyback off of both of those, you both had said in I think 2 or the last 2 of the 3 streams that I have watched before I came on the show last, and you had mentioned if the Jones make the necessary pivotal moves to get certain people signed and restructured and freed up, even though you're not walking into this draft looking to get the best player available off the board because you have key needs, you still walk in with a better chance at getting BPA at the position that you need because it's that loaded this year. And this is what they failed to do.
Right. If we had restructured some contracts, some guys we know are going to be here a little longer. If we had given the extensions to guys like the top receiver in the league, like CeeDee Lamb, if we had given the extension to Dak Prescott, wherever we're at with that, not now, not after the draft, but if we had done this in March, beginning of March, we would be able to make moves. That's why we here at MCF keep saying, calling out the front office, the clown show, because this is an example. They wait until they'll sign everybody and extend everybody, but we won't be able to use that money anymore.
You can have all the money in the world,
I
but
disagree with that. They're not just waiting. They don't do it at all. They don't do it.
You don't think they're going to extend CeeDee Lamb eventually?
They don't do it. But you know what? It would. I think Jerry Jones has a lot of pride, given the fact that he's willing to lose his way rather than win someone else's way, i.e. Jimmy Johnson's of the world. I'm never going to forget you said that.
Agree.
I think he's got so much pride that he's not going to let the Micah Parsons of the world walk away, the CeeDee Lambs of the world walk away. We all forget that this is Jerry Jones that advocated for CeeDee Lamb to have 88.
Exactly.
CeeDee Lamb was advocating for a different number, if I recall.
Yep. And that's my point. So what makes you, why... You think it's not? You think an extension's coming or not for CeeDee Lamb? Because I believe it is coming. It's just going to come after we can't do anything with that money anymore.
I don't think it's about the money anymore, because Jerry Jones has clearly shown us when he wants to do something, he'll do something. He just comes out and says something for the press conference just to look cute and just whatever. Oh, that sounds flashy. Oh, that sounds cool. I'm old. I'm hip. Can I kick it? That's Jerry. I think he's going to get an extension done when we see the Justin Jeffersons of the world get a contract done. I think the way that I look at CeeDee Lamb's contract and the way that the Jones have approached many players' contracts is they're waiting to see what other players who have similarly produced. And I don't think that Justin Jefferson's nearly on CeeDee Lamb's level, personally.
Well,
but...
The waiting is the problem.
I think he's waiting for that.
The waiting is the problem with this front office. By waiting,
and they don't care. They don't care. We see that as a problem. They don't.
But see, here's the thing, though. What's going to happen is exactly what, we know about the salary cap and all that. So we know that. But you just brought it up about the free agency, and part of the issues is that we spent $11 million this year. We've discussed this here. I said it's too late for the Cowboys to make a deal with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen. When it's too late to sign any more free agents, going to hurt their freaking comp picks. I think the Cowboys are going to wait to open up the money so they can roll it over next year.
But you can have all the money in the world, but if you're showing up to the grocery store after everybody's cleaned it out, you guess where that money is going to go?
To the
back into your hungry belly, because there's no food for you to buy.
Or back to the barrel.
Are we going? That's what I'm saying. Where are we going to spend this money?
It's going to go to the guys left over after the draft. And I'm talking about the beginning of May. You're going to see a couple veterans signed through May and June. And those guys won't affect the comp picks. Those guys will be names that you've heard. Those guys will be veterans. We'll get a nose tackle. We'll get a corner.
So we're either going to pay filet mignon prices for basically, breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Or, even worse, we're going to pay $1 for, a PB&J sandwich. That's exactly the PB&J sandwich that we thought was going to taste like filet mignon.
Yeah, if he's what he expected, that'll be good enough. And I think that's what the Cowboys' plan is going to be. Now, it's funny. Most teams want to go into the draft with an idea what their team's having and going in, what needs are. In our situation, we need so much that we're going to the draft, and after the draft, we'll figure out what free agents to get. We're doing it the reverse way.
A little backwards. So, but
most teams do the free agents first and then do the draft. We're going to do the draft and then the free agents.
And I know we can all agree on O-line, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip past that particular draft pick. But outside of that, with as little knowledge as we have of what the heck the Cowboys should be doing at positions, what would you like to see I'm just saying, what positions would you like to see the Cowboys drafting then, outside of O-line early on, since like I said, that's a pretty much...
I'm going to let Seabass answer that, but I want to say one quick last thing, because kind of answering his question, I actually had a second part to that answer.
Okay.
It wasn't just like picking guys that are going to be when we picked Jalen Tolbert, we had 5 receivers in front of him. Third rounder is supposed to show out. Is not going to show out. You know, he's not going to get a chance to play. So I need to get guys when you draft in the first, second, third. They got to be immediate starters. Offensive lineman, first round, center. Offensive lineman, tackle, second round. That's starter. Okay. Third round, running back. That's starters. That's 3 starters. That's how you get impact players. Now,
I agree.
Now, my opinion, though, is the main guy that's going to help this team succeed in the draft is the same guy that's always helped us every year in this draft, Will McClay. That's the key to this, especially undrafted guys and maybe later round guys. That's where Will McClay really strikes gold. So I think that I feel, you said about having faith. I don't know if I have the faith in the Cowboy front office. I don't. But I have faith in Will McClay doing the best. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he does the best of what he's given from the Clown Show, from the Joneses. So Will McClay gives me a little more faith than I would if we didn't have him. If we didn't have him, we're fucked. We would be probably drafting in the top 10 the last 15 years. So
Seabass McClay.
Who
you drafting?
Can you give it up? Can you smell what MCF is cooking? Go ahead and put his picture up on the chat. I wish I could have asked a different question. That was beautiful. The only man that I have faith in is Will McClay in himself. In Will McClay, I trust. And MCF, that was great. I wish I could have asked a different question because but for the sake of the show, and
that gives a little positivity to the Cowboy fan base because I do think
really good answer.
He hangs it up. He's the one that saves us. You know, I talked about this in 2020, 21, and 2022. Will McClay saved us in this draft. We had like a fantastic amount of players, more than anybody in those 3 years. And you know, we had a bad one last year. That is true. But you know, and he was partially responsible for Mozzie pick. I think Dan Quinn, and we heard Dan Quinn was the guy who made him drop the weight. So I think there was a difference in plan there on Mozzie.
I thought he was a Dan Quinn pick.
Yeah, well, that's what Stephen Jones said. Stephen Jones alluded to it was the coaches. So we're going to go with that. Even though and I don't know if I think I don't trust Stephen Jones, but my point is Will McClay got the guy that Dan Quinn wanted. And so Will McClay did his job. So to me, I think that Will McClay is still one of the top guys in our organization that gives me a little bit of faith. Not a lot. A little bit of faith because if it was only him, I have a lot more faith. Because the Joneses are saying you can only spend $1 on this player, that's what I can only have as much faith as what he's given.
Yeah.
And so
he
does a lot with a little.
That if the Cowboys tell McClay, hey, find me every single redheaded linebacker. It doesn't matter if Will McClay wants to bring in, a purple-haired cornerback, he's going to look for whatever the Cowboys tell him to, and within that set of parameters, right, he's going to say, hey, this is the number one redheaded linebacker you want.
Exactly.
I'm using a stupid decision
that's
because
a way of seeing it, yeah. So the question you said is, what other positions outside of offensive line are you looking at, my man Seabass? What other spots? Later on in the draft, third round, fourth round, sixth round.
If I could answer this question with what I'm feeling as far as my alluding to bring me another Travis Fredericks, I feel like we lost him too soon. I hope the man's doing good. He and his family, God bless the man. God bless everybody in the chat. Everybody hit like, subscribe. Let's get MCF and MCW to $35,000. Subscribers, excuse me. Wow.
Yeah,
35,000 subscribers before the summer hits. Let's do that.
Yeah, after this draft, we should be at 500 away. Easy. Let's go.
We're almost there, folks. Hit the like and subscribe. Share it with your mama. Share it with your auntie. Share it with your grandma.
Thank you, brother.
Do your thing. But I really think we should hit on. Personally, I only want defensive line players and offensive line players. I think they can make do with what they'll have post-June and as far as free agency, because there's going to be other names of people who get cut, because what we're not considering here, and I think this is where Jerry might have something to pull out from underneath us like he's done in the past. There's going to be some names after the draft that people no longer want because they've picked up players. And they no longer have a need for those people to be there. And those people might be veterans. Those people might be, at the top of their position, but that team doesn't want to take on that contract or pay the guy. And so he's going to float.
He got some injury issues. He could be a little older. A lot of reasons that someone could let someone go, and then we could pick him up for a lot cheaper. I agree 100%. After the draft, the Cowboys make the moves then. Yep.
So I'm not gonna just rule out complete faith. Oh, all hope is lost, because I haven't seen the draft yet, and I hope it's not a repeat of the last draft, first and foremost. But I know that Jerry's free agency starts post June 1st, as I alluded to in the comments earlier. I can't really just rule out the fact that he's going to pull out something and just be like, hey. but it might be right around the time that he had to deal with his legalities. But I digress.
Oh, Jerry, always up to something. Listen, I think the Cowboys are gonna, we'll make some moves and we'll say some names that we'll get a nose tackle that we're like, all right, he's comparable to Hankins, and we'll get we'll fill in those spots. I think with veterans after the draft, but I'm just afraid that we're digging too close to the bottom of the barrel, and we're gonna miss more than hit on those post draft free agents when we could have hit on more short things and better short things, paying a little more money before the draft, and actually restructure the contracts and extend these guys. And you have 30, 40, $50 million to spend if you really wanted to. The Cowboys front office did not want to. So it's kind of playing hand in hand here, The mistakes of free agency, now we're going into the draft. So, we're looking into this. I know I kind of like Seabass's answer about not really after offensive line and defensive line, it's really nothing else. It's kind of like wherever you get the best player, you just grab them in a way.
Yeah, and like I said, it's
Cowboys may do
the double-edged
that.
sword of needing so many positions. It basically means we can't really go quote-unquote wrong as long as we get, like you said, the best player available at that time or whatever. There's so many positions we need. It's just a matter of, who's still up there.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Even if you have to go for the best player available, you're going for the position of need best player available. Okay. So if you want to double dip, because I personally think they should double dip in offensive line. If you double dip in offensive line and you can catch Tavondre, excuse me, I hope I'm not butchering the man's name. Prayers up to him. Tavondre Sweat in maybe the 4th or the 5th. I would say out of the 7 picks that they do have, they've hit solid on the first 3 if they go that route, hypothetically speaking.
Agree.
Because that you can plug and play, as I said in the comments earlier, you can plug and play like Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones like to play these games. They can find somebody here or there, find an undrafted player, all that good stuff. Find somebody who's a trade, or they might hit us with another, how they traded for Stephon Gilmore. Did anybody see that coming? No, we didn't see that coming. Someone of that caliber? No, not really. And then especially at that position. How long did we go at that position before we even had somebody of Stephon Gilmore's caliber? It's like, so that might happen too. And then there's also Jerry's free agency starts post June 1st.
Yeah, no lie there. In the end, I think that the Cowboys we'll get a team together we'll get a little excited about by the time we get there. I do agree. But I'm curious to know when it comes to the draft as we're coming up to this thing here. A couple last thoughts from you about this draft and any other things you want to speak on openly. So go ahead. But when it comes to the draft specific, do you have any? Let's say, for instance, I know we don't like running backs that much these days, but with the guys we have, you said we needed to pick one up. Are you eyeballing any specific players? I don't want Jonathan Brooks. That's just the way. I don't want another injured rookie. So I like Trey Benson from Florida State. There's some other guys in this draft that are out there that later on in the draft that you can pick in the 5th and 6th round. So any quick names or thoughts from you at running back, since you did mention that earlier?
Well, I do like Trey Benson myself. I've been, one of the big advocates for Trey Benson. I also like the other cat out of Tennessee, Jalen Wright. I like him.
Heard good things about him.
I like Michigan. I forget his name right now. Blake Corum, I think his name is. I like Blake Corum, but I take any of these names that I've just mentioned over Jonathan Brooks. I'm not really wanting to take another injured player, like you said yourself, and relive that whole saga again. I don't want to do that. We've seen what these players, especially with a significant ligament like that to the body, that's something substantial. And we haven't seen players have necessarily I'll choose my words carefully, a beneficial bounce back from some said injury. So I would like to steer clear of that altogether. I think that with the addition of Royce Freeman, you've got Rico Dowdle back there. I liked what I saw from Rico Dowdle last year. I didn't see enough of Deuce Vaughn. I don't know how much they're going to use Deuce Vaughn. I like that. Maybe they have an anniversary with a revisitation with Zeke. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not an advocate for that either, but if it happens, it happens. But I still think adding one of these young names, aside from Jonathan Brooks, I think you can get away, because we've seen other top-tier teams make it work with running backs whose names we don't even know, whose names we've not even seen in the newspaper. And these folks were getting paid much less. They're actually getting paid what I think one of the running backs that used to be with us is getting paid right now, encompassing.
Yeah, agree. And I'm thinking if I said our running back core was Trey Benson, Royce Freeman, Rico Dowdle, you could say Deuce Vaughn. We have fullback Hunter Lipke to pick from. And listen, I know this is practice squad, but I still love Malik Davis. I think he's a good runner for so low on our running back list. So I think, depth-wise, we're actually pretty solid. It's more about, like, we don't have any superstars, but Trey Benson could be that guy, I think, that could kind of do it all. So, with him and Royce Freeman and Rico Dowdle, now it's kind of like the three-headed monster. I think we roll with that going forward, at least for this year.
Well, like what you were just saying, if you do have depth, if you want to take it back to what, and then we're going to have new additions to the game this year, special teams and whatnot. But if you like old school football, where it's like you didn't need a superstar, because there's some big name players who don't get the same level of, popularity and whatnot and what have you as Emmitt Smith, the Barry Sanders, Tony Dorsett, all those names, right? You don't get that popularity. But those guys, they were some real good players. So if you just have what you just said, some depth, and you run it down people's throats, you have guys who can run it from, let's say, where we struggle from, the red zone. You've got specific guys who are bruisers like that. Those guys are pounding down your door. They can get those 2 yards. Then you have guys who can eat up the yards and get up the field. The Tony Pollards, the Rico Dowdles. I know Tony Pollard's gone now, but, I saw Rico Dowdle last year eating up some yards.
I agree.
If you could use go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was thinking, because to run inside the way we want to run, it's not just the running back, it's the offensive line. So that's why I believe, personally, and I'm kind of getting us off track a little bit, but staying on the running game at center. In the draft, we talked about offensive line, but baby, I know
those picks kind of go hand in hand.
But I think you were pushing in the beginning, at least. You're kind of more advocating, for like an offensive tackle at that, and I'm saying more center. And I say center not just for the need of needing a center. We have Brock Hoffman there. To me, it's more about, it's important to communicate and be able to learn that immediately, be a guy who is used to that pressure. But it's also about the run game. And again, both these guys, like Graham Barton and JPJ, are both very good with power inside, and that would help us with the run game inside. So I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the running back situation, whether it is Trey Benson or one of these other guys.
It would, but I have also made the case that we have a little bit more depth at that center position in a way that we just don't have at the offensive tackle position. So it might be better for us.
Even with Chuma Edoga, right?
Even with Chuma.
I have to agree with her.
So it might be better for us.
I have to agree with her because Graham Barton, I think the Steelers might take him. They're looking at center too.
And he can play multiple positions too. I think he even plays tackle too. So I'm just saying he has multiple uses if you wanted to put him at tackle.
That's why we want him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Cowboy, but he's not. But he's looked upon as a late first rounder. If someone grabs him early, if the Steelers grab him early, that would be unexpected, I think. But they might want him in the second round. I think that's where we have to be. That's why I want end of the first round and grab one of these two guys. JPJ or Graham Barton. And that's one of the things I'm going to look at this week, and probably one of these nights I'm going to look at both guys. Like, what are the pros and cons with both of these guys? And just kind of compare them against each other. So we know we're getting, if the Cowboys go hard on that first or second best center in the draft. At tackle, my issue is that we're getting the 6th or 7th or 8th best tackle at 24. That's my issue. So I know we're in more need of tackle, but so what would you go with? Which way would you go, center or tackle with the first pick, and roll the dice with center or tackle on the second pick? Yeah. What would you do?
I'm rolling the dice with center because of depth right now, and the team needs it's its pinnacle. It comes paramount. So it's like I need tackle more than I need center right now.
Okay, so you said center guys, first. So
like Jerry Jones is saying, you're going to have to step up and do more with less. I think that those guys, that's expected of the centers too. I think that's not substituted amongst any of those players on that team.
So there's some good centers as well in the second round. They'll still be there.
Yeah, and remember, you also said it. Like, we got Biadish in the fourth round?
Well, he was going to be a second rounder.
I know he
dropped. But
I don't care whatever he was going to be.
We can still pick a second round center, yeah.
Exactly, and one that stays in the second round.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. That has it has no injury issues that dropped the Oddish to the 4th. So yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. We make all good points here. So going through this draft in my mind, we're going like offensive line, both those spots, tackle and center, and then third round, I'm assuming you're going to go running back or you go linebacker. What would you do? Just curious.
I wouldn't do running back is not high on my list, as in like those first 3 picks.
If we don't trade back, there's no Trey Benson there because the next pick is the 5th round.
Oh yeah, and that was the one thing I was going to say earlier when Dark Raven did his thing. I got you, Dark Raven. I remember why you did your thing. That's what it was. So I really hope that they trade back. I really hope, because there are some good plays that Jerry, I know Will McClay and Jerry can put their heads together and come out on the upside with if they were to trade back. I mean, I know Law Nation just put out something earlier today. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was a picture of how we got Micah.
You remember we traded back, right? We traded back 2 picks to the Eagles and got Osa Odigizua with the other pick. I think it was him or was it Chauncey Golston? It was Chauncey Golston, I think it was. We got with the Eagle pick.
I love that. It's like, okay, we can most certainly fill needs as far as like a depth perspective for what we do need for a certain position. I can respect that.
Remember how far we dropped back 2 spots and got an extra 3rd rounder.
Mm-hmm.
So if we drop,
they still didn't choose Micah.
I know. Well, yeah, they were looking for the receiver. That's all. That's why they jumped us. We knew it was for the receiver. We just let them jump us for the receiver rather than the Giants get the receiver.
Yeah, I know we didn't jump back, but I think the more surprise pick, as far as like a first-round pick we weren't expecting to get, I think CeeDee Lamb is the only one in the last handful of years that really fits that bill. Like you said, the Michael one was a strategic, hey, we can still get the guy we want and get this move.
Cowboys knew it, and they traded. The Giants then traded back when they couldn't get a receiver. Yeah. They traded back to the Bears, and the Bears got, what's his name, the quarterback?
Fields?
Yeah,
right?
Yep, Justin Fields.
So,
and then we got Micah.
Yeah, so the year we got CeeDee Lamb, remember, CeeDee Lamb was supposed to be, like, long gone. We had, like, the Eagles on top of, like, a few other teams who were basically, like, frothing at the mouth to get him. And then we come in and basically swoop him at, like, 15 or something like that. So it really worked out for us that, and I think part of the reason it worked out is because other teams ended up making trades and moves for other positions. So that is where, a bit of the luck of the draft, if you want to call it that.
I like that you said that because MCF said literally we could have JPJ and Graham Barton still there.
Yep, both of them could be there.
Like that.
Trading back 4 spots.
I like that. I like that. Good point, MCW. Good point.
It really just depends on for the Cowboys in the sense of like what teams offer us,
and what we're getting.
Calling.
If you look at going back from the 10th to the 12th, and we got a mid 3rd rounder, or I guess I could say end 3rd rounder. If you're going back 5 or 6 spots, still 1st round, but it's a lot lower. How much does that affect it? I would assume we get a 3rd rounder, a late 3rd rounder back. Now, if you get that late, now let's go back to the Seabass. We do the trade back. Do you take Trey Benson with that 3rd rounder? We got 2 3rd rounders. So who do you go Trey Benson and then another position? What would you do there?
I'm still not going Trey Benson with that 3rd rounder.
Okay, all right, so you're going to skip on Trey
ahead of him.
All right.
I'm going to look at linebacker ahead of him because, like you both alluded to earlier, I think you guys were talking about a name, Edgerrin Cooper, I believe it was. I might be saying his name wrong.
No, you got his name right, but he's a 1st or high 2nd rounder. That's the thing.
Right. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to be there either. But there's going to be. I don't knock these guys who are underneath him, how they rank them in this little ranking thing. I look at what the physical attributes are. I look at your fundamentals. I look at your feet work. What's your focus? What's your mentality like? What's your maturity like? I like to look at those things. I like to look at tendencies in the lifestyle. All those things factor in. And so I'm not really going to say that he's going to be there, but there are some really, really solid linebackers. And it's deep. It is deep this year. And so we can snatch. I mean, we just picked up Eric Kendricks, okay? I don't think that that's fully going to save us. I don't think that that's going to suffice. But I am getting DeMarvion Overshown back. I have high hopes for him. I think he's got a high upside, a really high upside. And if you go ahead and draft somebody who might come after an Edgerrin Cooper. I wouldn't say that his ranking necessarily, like you said, you want to look into the differences of the pros and cons of JPJ and Graham Barton. I'm going to do the same for the linebackers because I feel like it's deep this year. And I feel like you can really get a stud. And if you line that up with, let's say, Micah Parsons, when he's in 3rd and goal or 3rd down, when he's actually out that linebacker, and you actually have some big boys up front plugging those gaps.
Yeah, that's when you need them. You got to use specialized players in specialized situations.
Absolutely.
So I do have one kind of final draft specific question, because we've talked about all the things that we want to see our Cowboys do. But as we know, they do like to surprise us. What is something that you do not want to see the Cowboys do? And within, like, the realm of, like, realistic options and things like that. Because for me, at least, I feel like the one thing I really don't want to see the Cowboys do is, who's that hurt player?
Jonathan Brooks?
Is it Brooks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running back, yeah.
I don't have anything against Brooks, but I would not be happy if the Cowboys were to somehow end up with him, because I feel like the only way that happens is if we get him too early. Like in a few scenarios I've thought about it, I'm like, pretty much any scenario, I'm just not really happy with it 100%. And like I said, it's nothing against him personally. I just think that, again, when we already had this discussion, we need those impact plays, we need those impact picks, and I don't see Brooks dropping far enough in the draft to make him enough of a bang for your buck in that realm. So anyway, so let me pass this back to you then, Mr. Seabass, and we'll let Mr. MCF answer afterwards. But what do you definitely not want to see the Cowboys do when it comes to the draft?
I'm humored because I really wanted to hear MCF's answer before I chime in on that.
All right, so baby,
I really wanted to hear that answer because I think I know where he might go, and I might be right along the same path.
All right, so
I mean, I answered it already. My love.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, I'm.
No, I know. I'm just saying. So, like, obviously, I said, drafting a running back too early feels like the blanket overall statement. But obviously, Brooks is the more specific one, just because we've already said it. As soon as we heard about him, we're like, oh my God, it sounds like the Cowboys made him up just for them.
See, I mean, I can't go, the running back situation, if we were to draft a running back in the 2nd round, I don't care what the name is. That would be disappointing to me. That would be an issue for me.
Right.
I think that'd be, but I do know that the Cowboys are looking for the impact starters that are going to be playing a lot on the field. So, I would not like that early. But, like, if you think about it, if we draft the receiver early, what's the plan going forward? I don't know what the plan going forward is, but that receiver will not get a lot of time on the field.
So you think even getting a receiver too early would be a mistake?
There's a lot of things. The Cowboys have to. You guys said you have to hit this out of the park. I want to go back. I guess it's kind of going to repeat what I said before, which is the Cowboys have to get this, to knock these first 3 rounds out of the ballpark. You have to not just draft for, like, best at position, but you got to make sure there's still good players at that position. Just because you get the best at that position don't mean they're good anymore. Because you can get the best tackle in the 3rd round, and he's going to be a guy that's a bust. So if you get the best center in the 2nd round, that's in the beginning of the 2nd or end of the 1st round, you get the best center rather than the 7th best tackle. That's why I'd go center. That's what I think the Cowboys have to hit, because you're going to get the same kind of talent at that pick with a tackle than you will be in the 2nd round with a tackle. So to me, you got to make your picks fall right, and for the positions that you're looking for that are deep. I don't mind linebacker, but you got to have that 2nd pick, I think, because to me, a linebacker is not going to start. A 3rd round linebacker is not going to start over our starters. He's just not going to. We got 3 guys in front plus Micah Parsons. They're not going to start. So it'll be a disappointing. That 3rd round linebacker will be disappointing. The thing is, if you get 2 3rd round picks by trading back, you can go with that Trey Benson and get that starter. You got 3 starters, 2 offensive linemen and a running back, and you get the linebacker to build up your linebacking core only with the trade back and adding that pick. If not then, if you don't trade back, you got to go away to the 5th round. And listen, there's still a guy named Jalen Ford from Texas. So there's still players there, but I just don't want to see the Cowboys being over-aggressive at positions that they don't have to be over-aggressive for, whether it's running back or any position out there. Other than offensive line, there's really why get a defensive lineman, an edge rusher? We love edge rushers, but why get an edge rusher? I heard there's a first-round edge rusher. I forgot his name. The Cowboys are looking at. He won't start, though. He won't start. He's going to be playing behind 4 guys.
Yeah, it feels like you're shooting yourself in the foot.
We got Sam Williams, a second-rounder, and that's my example. Why you don't grab a guy that's going to be 5th on the depth chart in your 2nd round or 3rd round pick. You got to get starters. So that's what I don't want to see the Cowboys go for depth in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round. You know what I mean? I need to get starters in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round. So I think we're all on the same page, what we don't want to see. I don't want to see the Cowboys just sit on their fucking hands. I want to see them make a move to trade back. So that would be...
That pretty much summarizes my answer. I'm not... you guys remember a Lupke, Hunter Lupke, I believe his name is? And
fullback.
What was the tight end's name that we picked up?
Yeah, John Stevens Jr. or something like that?
The point that we've all three were alluding to is we don't need to draft a player over aggressively for a position that we don't have an immediate need for. We need to hit most of those needs right on the nail. If you're not going to trade back, I feel like personally, in my opinion, that makes it more difficult for the Dallas Cowboys to operate with, as far as from a standpoint of need. I would say it makes it more difficult. If they do trade back and they hit high players in those first, I would say, 3 picks, you can plug and play. Jerry's always done that. You can plug and play with the rest of that. You can fiddle because you never know what you're getting. You can't look. Some of the greats were picked in the later rounds, so you can't really use the round as like I wouldn't use it like that. That's just my perspective. There's some folks who have come out of the later rounds who were greater than some folks who were picked in the 1st round. We have 1st rounds who, not named, what's the quarterback's name for the New York Jets? Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
There's those types, right? So I've come to understand the round is just a round. Yeah, it might be a popularity thing, and sometimes it's actually, that player's really good. He's got some fundamentals. He's got some good stuff. But you can get some serviceable players from the beginning, from the top, and you can get some serviceable players from the bottom.
I 100% agree, but you want to make sure those, you said it yourself, we got to make sure those first ones hit. How do they hit? Do they hit as players that play 15% of games, or do they hit when they play 70% of games? That's a start. You know what I'm saying?
It's exactly what you just said. So you hit that way, in the way that you just described it, only if you hit the first 2 picks, offensive line, and you hit that third one, a nose tackle. That's the only way you hit. If you don't do that, I don't feel as if I just feel like we might have flunked this draft too.
Yeah, I agree in the 1st round, the 2nd round, offensive lineman will be fantastic. I don't see the Cowboys. For some reason, I have a doubt the Cowboys to go offensive line, but I wouldn't mind it. And I think that, I think running back would be I think, to me, Trey Benson would be more of a starter than anyone else on our team at running back. I think that he will be taking the majority of the snaps, and he'll be our game plan starter.
As brazen as Jerry is, with the signing of Royce Freeman and the only people that we have on the roster, MCF, do you really think that he's going to give a rookie as good as Trey Benson is, as excellent as Trey Benson is? Hell, we haven't even seen what's the video of the guy that you just put out, Trey Lance. We haven't even seen the best of what he can do with this team. And you think that I have to disagree with that one. I don't think that would happen.
Well, let me say the difference. A quarterback different than running back, and to me, a running back.
I know that's night and day. I don't mean to make that.
Yeah. No, you could throw Trey Benson in there, and he's not even going to be playing 70%. He'll be playing, splitting a 3-way kind of backfield. But I think that because Jerry Jones is so brazen and the way he is, he will want his running back, Trey Benson, 1st or 2nd best running back drafted. He would want him front and center selling jerseys. He would want him as a starter.
Right. You're
You
right.
know
He
it.
would
You
want him
know
21
this. So
just
Trey
like
Benson's
Zeke.
his
Yeah,
third
I
round
want you to
Zeke.
take this number. Yeah, you're right.
So that's my thing.
You're right.
I think
100%.
Trey Benson will be the hot name. It's not going to be Royce Freeman. It's not going to be Rico Dowdle. It's going to be Trey Benson. Might be the backup to start, but I think.
I did not look at it that
Oh yeah!
way. Wow.
Yeah. It's all about those three names: offensive line starter at center, offensive line starter at tackle, and Trey Benson or a running back that's going to start there. Those are big bang for your buck for Jerry Jones and for the team.
Perspective right there.
Yeah. I mean, those three first picks. That's how you get three producing starters. You want to make a bang for you. If they don't get hurt, knock on wood. If they don't get hurt and they play even close to their potential as a rookie, those will be hitting our first three picks. If you want to make it look good, that's how you do it. I think that you get a nose tackle. It takes time to get a defensive lineman in the third round for him to produce. I think it's going to take time.
So where would you get him at?
Again, I would wait to the trade back fourth, or I would see if Tavondre Sweat is there. But if he's not, and he's going to have issue with weight, there's still a lot of good players. I don't know if I think I would go for a veteran free agent after the draft at nose tackle, and keep and Mozzie to me is our rookie this year in a way. So that's our rookie pick is Mozzie Smith.
Zimmer's going to get him up to snuff too. I believe Zimmer's going to get him up to snuff
he's putting the weight back on. We know he's putting the weight on. We already heard he's like 315.
I don't understand what that tech thing is. What you guys say before? What he was? What Dan Quinn might have demoted him to, like a one tech or something.
No, he was moving him to an OSA position as usually a three tech is about between 305 to at the heaviest. He was like 295. So they dropped him down to be a quicker guy, and that's the thing. That was with Quinn. Now it was Zimmer. He's building him back up to be bigger. We heard this from. We know it for a fact that he's gaining weight, but also Stephen Jones. Stephen Jones has said that. So I think that Mozzie's going to be rotated in there as one of those guys that got to step up this year as a starter-like guy. I don't think we're going to draft a nose tackle unless it's Tavondre Sweat in the 5th round or 4th round. So I mean that would be a thing where you would go for a guy you don't even need, but he has talent and maybe you can work with him. You roll the dice on a 4th or 5th rounder for Tavondre Sweat if he drops that low, which he probably won't. So in the end, I wouldn't worry about defensive tackle.
Tavondre Sweat's going to drop even with his now.
No, he's going to drop. He's going
to and his prior.
He was going to be 2nd rounder. Now he's going to be maybe a 4th rounder. That's where he's looked at right now, even lower. So
I like those prospects for him.
So if he goes to 5th round, I'd say roll the dice and get him. But I do know that for me, I think that the Cowboys with those first 3 picks, if we get. Especially if we trade back and get a center still, and still get a solid Eric Fisher. There's a couple. Not Eric Fisher. Forgot his name. Fisher though. I think a couple centers out there. Tackles that are good in the 2nd round. We get those 2 guys and then finish it up with a starter running back in a Trey Benson type. You get production. You get starters. That means you're gonna hit it out the ballpark there. And then if you get an extra bonus 3rd rounder, you can get that linebacker. You can do a lot of things with that. In my opinion, I think you go linebacker, or if there's a solid cornerback that's sticking out of the pile, you grab him in that 3rd round. So to me, that's kind of where I would look. I would get those 3 starting positions done to show that we're going to get guys starting and producing, and then you definitely fill up the other defensive spots we need filled. You fill that up with day 3 guys. I think that's the best bet you can go with. That's my opinion. I shouldn't be talking. You're the one who's talking. So I don't know how you feel about that, but I think that that's a good kind of idea of what's going to happen. What Cowboys probably do is to offensive line, I don't know what position. They'll probably end up going like linebacker or receiver in the 2nd round, which will be too early for me. You don't get production from either position at that point. Not. And then you go, 3rd round, he'll go Jonathan Brooks or something. Or 2nd round, go Jonathan Brooks. 3rd round, go linebacker. And everything we're talking about is just out the window. That's what the Cowboys will probably do.
What I was going to say earlier to add to MCW's point was I feel like this is all for naught, and they're going to repeat last year's draft, and they're going to surprise us with a pick that we didn't overly need to spend on.
And that's my fear. They're gonna overreach for guys that they want, not necessarily the guys that they should maybe hold off on overreaching for. So that's my fear. That's a big fear we have. That's what we don't want to see happen. I think we had a great discussion, brother. I think we had a great discussion on this team, and we're gonna see you back here in a week or 2, I guess. After this draft is over, shortly afterwards, to see what your opinions are about this draft and then what happened afterwards.
Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it.
Very exciting. And again,
love the discussion.
Everyone here in the chat, make sure to give Seabass some love. And
Yes.
Mr. Seabass, you know why we're all here chatting right now.
Yes, make sure you guys remember that if you're watching a replay, shout them out in the comments as well. Seabass broke down some great thoughts here. That's why it's good to have different thoughts and different mindsets, so we can kind of intermingle, some really good ideas that come out of this. So appreciate you, Mr. Over Everything, Seabass, the man. Appreciate you, man, big time. And I'm just very happy that you were able to get on here. You're able to give your thoughts on our Cowboys, and it sounds like we're kind of looking forward to see how we're gonna try to rebound off this very low key, low value free agency into this draft, where it's gonna be a lot of big needs have to be addressed.
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me on the show. I really love these discussions. I like to dissect the Cowboys news. I like to have a good feel for what this team is going to do. It's been there 3 decades. So, change is a must. It's no longer, a requirement. It's, Jerry's got to actually stand on business and do the things that he himself has come out and said he's going to do. And, I'll leave it at that. I digress.
No, I hear you. I feel it, Bear. We know how this team, they showed us the blueprint, how they do things, so we kind of know the direction they're going in. Let's see if they actually, I don't think we've gone into a draft, honestly, with this many holes in our team in a long time. I mean, these are glaring holes. Think about that. So how bad could they fuck this up? They just can't. I just hope they don't. They have to be able to fill in starting spots with drafted players that are ready to go, now. In those first 2 days, the first 3 rounds. So with this many holes, I don't see how if the Cowboys go for like an edge rusher and a receiver in the first 2 rounds, it's a failure. It's a failure.
Failure. I agree.
Because we won't see these guys till year 3. That's a waste. Yeah. So that's the way it goes, man. Hey, Seabass, again, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Love hearing from you. We'll be doing that raffle at the end of the month. And you get 2 extra, you get 2 raffle entries being in the Over Everything. So hopefully you get one of those, get one of these jerseys. And then, of course, brother, we'll see you after the draft for, I guess it'll be your April Over Everything membership. So, and I definitely can't wait to hear what you guys say. Hopefully good things for all of us to say about how the draft went, and maybe even some free agent moves right after the draft that might happen that we could maybe catch you with, next time we hear from you here on MCF. So we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Book it in my calendar. Love what you had to say today. I'm hoping that we can have some positive things to say when that time comes. But, hey, only time can tell. You guys know how the Jones operates.
Yes. Always danger.
We can't really do anything but sit here and wait. So I'm really hoping that it hits. So that's all I can say.
We're all hoping that right now. And there's definitely that possibility with all these holes we got in our team. Brother, thank you again. And, hey, we'll see you in the chat in there. Guys, give your love to him. But never forget, brother, go Cowboys. You know it.
Go Cowboys.
Hell yeah.
That's why we do this.
Hell yeah, always. The star over everything, brother. Peace out, bro. Much love to the man.
You guys take care of yourself.
Yes.
Have a great night,
everybody in the chat.
Yes.
Have a good night, everyone.
Maybe see you over on After Dark. We never know.
I'm there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Go Cowboys.
Salute. Have a good night, y'all.
You too. Good night. Go Cowboys. You know how that goes. So, great discussion once again with the great Seabass up in that Over Everything level membership. Appreciate his thoughts on all of that. And, hey, we hit over 2 hours in the stream. We are ready to kind of, shut it down for the night and for the week.
But guess what? The great news for everyone is that next time you see us, we are in full 2024 Dallas Cowboys draft mode, guys. We'll have our draft caps on. We're going to be, basically bringing you guys the latest updates, news, and, I have to be real, the latest rumors, because they're going to be flying even faster these next few days leading up to the draft. So we'll keep you guys updated on all the real, all the BS, our thoughts. Can't wait to see our mock draft as well and how it ends up shaking out.
We'll sift through all that crap for you guys and get you the real. But, hey, listen, we know for sure I already marked down a couple different positions I'm going to check out here in detail now that we're really close and we know what the Cowboys are eyeballing. And we're going to give you a couple of the guys we spoke about here as we lead up to our mock draft. And then, of course, on Thursday, cameras on. No more jumping around, little VTubing, V-blogging, whatever these guys are called. But we'll be up here in the flesh with our reactions for the draft. Can't wait, guys. Can't wait. And here, you know how it goes, baby. You got to remind them why we do this each and every night. But before we even get there, we got to also announce the winners for this week's Battles for the Top spots. And yes, we had the great McLovin as our sponsor of the week, but also as our Cash App King.
That's right.
Much love to him.
Much, McLovin.
Guess who takes over the Cash App? McLovin. Another week of domination. Back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. And even though he's a Dolphins fan, he also has officially won the overall board as our sponsor of the week. Back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. Much love to the man McLovin. Jason Renfro still hanging on. 13 points on the Stream Boss. But you see the gifting champion. It is Jason Renfro. And he had 5 on it last week. Gifted 5 in actually a 2-week span. So appreciate him as the champion. And as he was about to give up the crown to Skeptical Fan, he said, hold up. Dropped 5 to kick it off tonight. And has now corralled the top spot with 5 on it again for a second straight week. He's also repeating it like our 90s Cowboys. So, hey, baby, guess what? Next week, the same 3 faces repping the same 3 boards. Domination from Jason Renfro and McLovin, double time. Now, oh, by the way, I did want to remind everybody one last thing about our big raffle coming on draft day night 1 and draft day night 2. We have a great raffle coming here from the Lunatic and his jersey raffles. If you're watching this on the replay or, watching it now, everybody who dropped tonight, which is Mark Hosepian, Skeptical Fan, and Jason Renfro, all are already into this day 1 and day 2 jersey raffle. So again, your numbers are building towards that. We do stack them every day. So whatever your total is by Wednesday night, we'll have you marked in there and checked in with that. With those number of raffle entries. There's unlimited raffle entries you can get in here, guys. $10, you get a raffle entry. Once you hit $10, if you're in any membership level, you get a free another. I say free, but it's a bonus raffle entry to up your chances to win. And if you want to keep upping your chances, like right now, Jason Renfro's got 2, and he's got his membership. That's 3. He's got in there in the jersey for this double day, I guess you could say, jersey raffle. So he's got already 3 raffle entries. The more you get, the better chance you have to win. So we'll see what happens as I guess there's like a soft kickoff tomorrow. Obviously, it'll be the real launch, I guess, but we'll be obviously already be taking, adding up the numbers from today to your raffle entry. So good luck to all, and thank you all who are in this, especially to the man conducting it, Der Lunatic.
Woo, thank you again.
Yes.
The man, the Lunatic.
Of course, you know how it goes. So appreciate him and everybody on the boards. Once again, repeating like our 90s Cowboys. McLovin, and Jason Renfro. Jason also holds down that lucky number 13 on that Stream Boss, baby. Let's hit up who's in the house tonight as we get on out of here for the night.
Of course, we have Seabass himself. Much love to you. Real Shit 412 came to talk real football, right?
The Steelers suck, you know.
Louis Ortiz, take it easy, much love. He said we need an alternate nose tackle to give Mozzie some rest.
Just, I think, a veteran, not a rookie. We need a veteran. There's a dime a dozen of them for veteran minimum. I think Isaiah Buggs, an example. He's around. Let's get him.
So, let me see. Louis Ortiz, of course. I think I shouted you out, but just in case, another one. Let me see. We have Asmodeus, much love to you. Of course, the man Rolando Rodriguez representing. Tammy Soltis, much love. Glad you were able to hop in here and at least say hello.
Tammy in the house.
Let me see. Brandon JS, take it easy.
Brandon.
The man himself, Asmodeus.
Asmodeus repping from Memphis.
What's up, Mr. Stewart? Hello and hi.
Hey.
Thanks for being here. Hanging with us.
Mr. Stewart, is that Mr. Stanley Stewart? Not sure.
Not sure.
But I appreciate you or not. Appreciate you in the house. Stanley, always repping it here. I know he's repped the last couple of weeks here in the Cash App side.
So, no, we keep rolling here. Some shout outs to Rolando Rodriguez, Gamal Prater, Tyrone Church, much love, John Syme. We have Rolando Rodriguez, even lead commander here to talk and listen to real football talk, right? Revelation journalist, Jorge Hernandez, Dark Raven, Asmodeus, much love. Let's see, Louis Ortiz, Apocalyptic Cowboy, who, by the way, happy birthday to you as well.
Happy birthday.
That's as far back as it lets me go.
So, baby, why don't you remind everybody why we do this each and every night? Or almost, right now it's every other night, but we're about to go into each and every night here on My Cowboys Family on YouTube. Why do we do this every single night?
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Guys, here on MCF, we rep that star over everything. That means win, lose, or draw. That means good, bad, or ugly. Here, we always rep that star over everything. And here on My Cowboys Family for almost 7 years on YouTube, this channel, here on My Cowboys Family, never forget, now and forever, as always, go Cowboys! And let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long. Drop them, post the comments if you want after this posts. You can drop your comments. And if you're watching the replay, hit the like and post those comments as well. Thank you all for dropping your thoughts on our Cowboys tonight in the chat, especially to the over everything man, Seabass. Kicking ass and not taking in. And hey, listen, this guy broke it down tonight and a lot of great thoughts he had on our Cowboys, a great mix of ideas. That's why we do this. And I love learning from you guys. You learn from us. We learn together. Much love to the man Seabass dropping the facts tonight here on MCF. And thank you all dropping your knowledge in the chat. Also to those that dropped the love from above tonight specifically, Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfer, and Mark Hovsepian. Thank you guys for the drops of love. Can't do this without all the support, whether it's the comments, the love. But baby, as we drop out and clock out, not just for tonight, but for the week and start a new week tomorrow, relocked and reloaded, tell everybody what we got to do before we get on out of here and drop out of here for the night.
We gotta drop the beat.
The beat's been dropped. It's a wrap here for the week on My Cowboys Family. We'll see you back here for another one tomorrow. We hope you enjoyed our, basically it's a weekend wrap-up of our Dallas Cowboys right here. All the news, info, and updates wrapped up in another MCF Cowboys chat. Hell yeah, you know it. Talked about Emmitt's thoughts on the team right now and DAK's contract situation, where he should land under $52 million. That's affordable. And then if you look at the draft, a couple mock drafts out there. Will McClay, a big part of this thing. Jerry Jones, he ruins this thing sometimes. But either way, after all that, we heard from the great Seabass dropping the knowledge here with his over everything, membership perk. Much love and appreciation to the man Seabass. Also, everybody in the house, oh, look at that. Tonight here with us, repping that navy blue, silver too, and that star over everything. That's how we do here in MCF. Never forget the most important thing here on My Cowboys Family. You guys in the house, thank you all for repping it with us. Don't forget to hit that like. Helps the analytics. Hit that like for the stream. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you're on all videos for this channel so we're going live. And of course, follow us on X, social media, Twitter, whatever. All social media at My Cowboys Family. Jump in the Discord. We also let you know when we go live there. And all the rest of the information all up in that description down below. Guys, thank you again. I hope you're watching us in the replay, enjoying it. Leaving a comment, hitting that like. Have a great rest of your day, night. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another one, a new week. Much love to all. Stay safe, peace, and never, ever forget, go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.